Presentation of the Southeastern Conference.
Chilly but charged up at Williams-Brice Stadium. This place is filled with hope and maybe some belief their Gamecocks can shock the mighty Volunteers of Tennessee. The Hendon Hooker Heisman campaign hits the stretch run. Just 2 games to go for this high-powered quarterback. On the other side, Spencer Rattler determined to close strong. This team comes off a huge disappointment in the Swamp, but they are determined on senior night to finish strong. And welcome to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Subway, in this presentation of the SEC on ESPN. Showdown Saturday between the Tennessee Volunteers and the South Carolina Gamecocks. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, Holly Rowe will join us. Almost a great afternoon for Tennessee as they sat in the hotel and get ready to play this game, but TCU and Michigan escaped with late field goals. Ohio State's trying to hang on.
Unbelievable day, and it's just a great reminder. You get into late November, teams are banged up, teams have nothing to lose. You go on the road, you don't get off to a great start. Sometimes you're holding on for dear life. Talking to the coaches on the field before the game with Tennessee and Josh Heupel, it's exactly what they're trying to avoid, starting fast and trying to kill the will of South Carolina early. They
may not totally control their destiny, but what they can control, win this game, beat Vanderbilt and Nashville, and then just hope that Georgia takes care of LSU, and it's right there for them to play.
I think Tennessee's looking at it like, hey, it's everything in front of us. Let's keep winning football games, keep looking one of the most dominant teams. Everything will take care of itself. But you're on the road in the SEC. It's always a challenge.
It's the first road night game for the Volunteers. They say they learned from that loss in Athens. South Carolina This is a tradition here. Also, Sprock Zarathustra, Richard Strauss, but best known as the 2001 theme.
Hey, man, you and I haven't been here for a while. This is an awesome entrance.
It's a classic, embellished with some very cool LED lights.
Oh, it was great. Man, that gets you hyped up.
Now the hard part. The run-out's always tremendous. Can the Gamecocks withstand the early flurry of this high-powered Tennessee offense? They're bowl-bound, but they're looking for a signature win. Sir Big Spur. There's a rumor he might visit the booth later. I still don't believe it. Tennessee and South Carolina coming up. Gamecocks here in Columbia. Holly Rowe joins us from the field. All this energy, Holly, but now the real chore of stopping that Hooker to Hyatt combination, which very few have.
That's right. There is a good old-fashioned South Carolina showdown about to happen on this field right behind me. Jalin Hyatt of the Tennessee Vols is one of the most dynamic playmakers in the country. 15 touchdowns this year. He does most of his damage on long plays downfield. But guarding him tonight, we think they'll match up for a lot of the game, is another young man from South Carolina, and that is Cam Smith, one of the top prospects in the upcoming NFL draft. The cool thing, both young men grew up right here in South Carolina. Jalin Hyatt is from Irmo, South Carolina, while Cam Smith is from Blythewood. They did not meet up against each other in high school, but they are both looking forward to the challenge tonight. Look for this South Carolina showdown. The whole state will be proud of these two young men. Chris?
It'll be fun, Holly. All the DBs really in charge of stopping the Tennessee passing game are from the state of South Carolina. I have pride on this defense. Talked about the lights. Check out the Sandstorm Show, which is about to lead us up to kickoff. as Rocky Top plays, not for the last time tonight. Tennessee's band is drowning out this show with fans. I'm just telling you.
They are, man. Loud. What a they got a great student section here. They want to believe. They're coming off an incredibly embarrassing loss last week at Gainesville. It's been an up and down year for Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks. They need to get off to a good start, reestablish themselves, and get this crowd to believe that tonight can be special here in Columbia. But you need a good start.
Well, we'll see Rattler and the Gamecock offense out there first. Tennessee won and deferred. So Paxton Brooks, who handles the punting duties and the kickoff duties, will send it away. Xavier Legette is a dangerous returner. The Gamecocks have the top-rated special teams unit in the country. They'll need plays from Beamer Ball tonight. It's a short kickoff. Try to keep it away from Legette, and the fair catch is made. So here comes Spencer Rattler. You no doubt know that he was at Oklahoma, and he was 6-0 as a starter there before getting pulled in the Red River Shootout. Caleb Williams went on and took it the rest of the way. So he transfers here, and I think there were super high expectations on his part, but coming into the SEC has been tougher than he thought, I think.
Absolutely. I think the way it ended in Norman, he took the high road. Caleb Williams took over, and he could have transferred right away. He could have been a kind of a difficult player to deal with and teammate to deal with, but he didn't. He just kind of kept quiet, sat behind Caleb, and then once the season ended, he decided where to go. And you're right, he's had a tough adjustment into the SEC.
Juju McDowell gets the first carry, still very short-handed at the running back position. Marshawn Lloyd cannot go with the deep divers. Christian Beal-Smith also out. Here's the Chick-fil-A impact players.
Yeah, they're going to have to be able to run the ball. Bell, the tight end, you're going to see number 0 back there running the ball. They have a lot of injuries. A couple of their starters will not be there. Wells, 3, can make plays one-on-one. Byron Young, what a great electric pass rusher, number 6 off the edge. And Trayvon Flowers, really the leader, battled through a lot of injuries this year, the leader on the back end of this defense.
DeCarrion Joyner is a wide receiver who will take some snaps as a Wildcat quarterback. He was also a high school quarterback. He can throw it pretty well, but they're trying to manufacture a ground game however they can.
Yeah. I mean, when you have 2 of your backs, Marshawn Lloyd, who's their best back of the year, averages over 5 yards a carry, and Christian Beal-Smith, both are unavailable. So you're right. You're going to see a little Wildcat with Joyner, like you just saw, and like I said, you also see Bell get a chance from time to time back there. They're going to mix up a lot of different looks, try to confuse the Tennessee defense.
So an early 3rd down to avoid going 3 and out and giving Hendon Hooker the ball very quickly. There's Christian Beal-Smith. Nate Atkins, kind of a fullback, tight end hybrids in the backfield. They pick up the blitz. The ball is out, and the first down catch is made. And that is Travion Kenyon, one of the 3 tight ends we'll see tonight.
Well, this is a good job of being able to read and recognize coverage and get the ball out in front. Not an easy throw on 3rd down. You see late pressure there right into the face, but he doesn't allow it to affect his vision. Look, he's going right over top of McCullough, the safety, and look at the location of that football on the first throw of the night by Spencer Rattler.
Only the 3rd catch of the season for Kenyon. Again, it's Joyner in the Wildcat. He's got it. He's got great acceleration, and that's a way to manufacture a running game. He rips off 14.
Exactly right, Chris. He's reading the in man on the line of scrimmage right here. If he goes wide, you're going to have to cut underneath that. He takes the receiver that's in that fly speed motion, that jet motion, and by him going out to the outside, it gave him enough room to cut underneath that. So a great read there, and see how comfortable he is in that role.
See how Tennessee adjusts. They had to expect some of this, but maybe not this much. Amarian Brown on the end around is forced out after a 1-yard gain. Marshawn Lloyd is a real difference maker. That deep divers has been stubborn, but he's a dude who can run hard and just run over people. Beal-Smith is a versatile piece. Lloyd's a good receiver too, so they use a lot without him.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at those are SEC backs that Shane Beamer has here, and there's a look we saw earlier, Beal-Smith, and now there's a look at Marshawn Lloyd, who's their top back. There they are together, so they're smiling right now, enjoying what they're seeing from this offense.
And Rattler harassed. A little trickery here. Has to just throw it away. A slow developing play. That was Brandon Turnage pressuring off the corner.
Really good job by the defense there of showing some discipline. You know, when Shane Beamer told us he's going up against his Josh Heupel team, he knows he's going to have to throw some wrinkles, you know, especially on a second or a first down where you maybe get the defense thinking about the run or a quick throw. Try some trickery, some flea flickers, or just try to get the defense to lose focus with their eyes.
Could be 4-down territory here. You expect him to go for it quite a bit. They need 8 on third. Rattler from the pocket scrambles. He's an effective runner. He slides down. He slid before the marker, though. He did not quite get beyond the marker, and it'll be 4th down. Jawan Mitchell was tracking him down.
See, and again, as much football as he's played, and I understand taking care of your body, but boy, just a little bit more effort there. He did such a good job in the pocket, and the awareness to be able to maneuver around, and then you do all that work and you come up a yard short. You'd love to see him dive there to get that first down.
Now charging across the line was Big O, Amari Thomas. Tennessee believes he was drawn off.
I think the center may have flinched.
Illegal snap, number 71 on the offense. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
So Eric Douglas making his 35th start. Pretty experienced offensive line for the Gamecocks.
Yeah, and let's go back to this scramble. Watch the maneuverability here. You know, just eyes downfield. The drills that you do as a quarterback. Now he's out in the open field. Just have that. You don't have to worry about, you know, coming up and getting into a potential quarterback sneak if you just extend that ball and pick up the first down. And now after the penalty, now you're looking at 4th and 6.
Yeah, if you dive head first, you do get the first down. Yeah. 4th and 6, a much tougher proposition here. I just feel with this potent Tennessee offense, 3 touchdown underdogs, good things have to happen for the Gamecocks early. It's a promising drive, but can they pick up the 6 yards here? Timeout from Rattler. Took a look, didn't like what he saw. So early stages, Gamecocks trying to keep this drive going. Passionate, loyal fans here. It's a sellout. Every Saturday game all season has been. AT&T 5G Skycam zooming over Williams-Brice. Check out the AT&T 5G Skycast on the ESPN app and ESPN3. So off the timeout, Kirk, you got a 4th and 6 after that potentially costly penalty.
Tennessee plays so much man. You know, mesh, crossing routes underneath typically can set up almost a screen or a pick. Could help Rattler, but Beamer being aggressive here.
He brings some late pressure, and the ball comes out, and it's complete for a first down inside the 20. Antoine Wells, the top receiver on this football team.
Wow, they actually sat down and played zone. Right here, it gives the read, and then you just sit right behind that. Rattler very comfortable when he has time. They bring the blitz, they play zone behind it, and there's the soft spot in the zone and a well-thrown ball. Great timing there by Spencer Rattler to get that ball out early and not give McCullough a chance to get his left hand up on that ball.
They called Wells juice, and he's been on a streak. Couple touchdowns against Vanderbilt. Out of the backfield. That is Bell. Jaheim Bell rumbling and rolling and will score. South Carolina strikes first on the opening possession.
A good block right here. This is Bell, a tight end that we talked about, has wide running back skills. See if he extends, and he does. He stays in and gets to that pylon and scores the touchdown. There's the progressive pylon cam, and Chris, he gets the touchdown in the opening drive here for South Carolina.
They got some versatile pieces on this offense. We've seen Joyner and Bell in the opening drive. First touchdown reception of the year for Bell. There's a couple of rushing touchdowns in recent games. Mitch Jeter, solid kicker, and we said there was hope and some belief. The belief is growing here. Hooker's going to have to take the field down 7-zip.
It's exactly what they needed, and I think McCullough gets confused along with Slaughter here. Slaughter's right here. You're going to see 13 Brooks come in, kind of set a screen. Nobody picks up Bell once he goes to the outside. Watch this defense right here. Watch the confusion on the inside. He follows the block. He's setting up that nice block. The ball's caught before the block is made and behind the line, and he's able to get there to the corner for the touchdown.
It's unusual. Tennessee's defense has not allowed a touchdown in the opponent's first possession all year. Only 3 points total, and none in the last 7 games.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And this crowd,
they're into it.
And this head coach, all week. Remember how they looked last week against Florida? Nothing went right. And they came into this game at home against Tennessee, who's been great against everybody but Georgia. They talked about a fast start to get their team more confident, reestablish themselves, and get this home crowd to believe. And that's what they were able to do there on that opening drive.
That's tough tape to watch for that game at Florida, wasn't it? They got down 24-0. It was a first-round knockout, and it punctured some enthusiasm. But this is a dream start. Jeter to boot it away, and Jimmy Holiday will let it sail deep into the end zone. So here comes Hendon Hooker. The stats are eye-popping. He has really taken care of the football, Kirk. Only 2 interceptions, 24 touchdown passes. He's a threat with his legs, as we've seen throughout the year, and great downfield accuracy, mostly to Hyatt.
It's amazing how efficient he's been in his second year in this offense, because how fast they go. You would think he'd make some mistakes, poor decisions, interceptions, but as you just pointed out, I mean, to be able to have only 2 picks on the entire season says a lot about his accuracy and his decision making.
Loudest part for visitors is where the balls are right now. That's the student section down to your left. First down pitch to the edge to Brew McCoy, and the former Trojan knocked out of bounds after about a 4-yard gain.
This is where you really find out, right? Your offense goes down, but now you got to send your defense out there against Hooker in this tempo.
They fake it to Small, and Hooker took a look downfield, now checks it down, and look who's in the ball game. Cedric Tillman is in the ball game. We didn't think he was going to play. He's been battling a foot injury, had that high ankle sprain, and lo and behold, Cedric can go tonight after all.
It looks like he is going to play, and it's good to see him getting involved early. Looked like he was selling that deep ball, the go ball, and came back. Made a good play.
Hooker escapes pressure. They thought they had him. They did not. Hendon Hooker in the secondary sprints down to the 30-yard line. Could have been a sack, instead a monster play.
Yeah, they just missed coming up with a big play by Pickens. Once he breaks free, again, you playing a lot of man coverage. Nobody there to account for Hooker once they missed the sack.
Here comes the fastest tempo in college football. Small breaking clear, just like that. The Volunteers answer. Can you say lightning strike? 31-yard touchdown, 75 yards in a minute.
That is unreal. What a block by the left guard, Jerome Carvin. He opened that up. The tight end coming across. Jacob Warren, a really good block, just opened it up and allows Small to get to that second level. Beautiful jump cut. Remember, you have a couple of young true freshmen in the back end of that safety. Back into this defense playing safety, and he made him pay for it there.
Yeah, Nick Evan is the top tackler, but he whiffed that time. 2 missed tackles by the Gamecocks in those last 2 big plays for Tennessee. Here's the run. Hooker could have been a sack, a 29-yard gain this time.
Yeah, and look, Pickens looks like he has it, but now once he breaks loose, everybody has their back to him, and again, he can go. He's got great speed, so the thing that he does, he gets him up to the line of scrimmage, gets some great blocks, and look at that move right there to get him into the end zone.
10th rushing touchdown for Small. Early fireworks in Columbia, 7 apiece.
ESPN College Football Primetime is presented by Subway. Try the all-new Subway Series menu, your pick of 12 irresistible subs, and in part by Rain-X. Outsmart the elements.
A quarter century after Peyton Manning famously directed the band for Rocky Top, Hendon Hooker was the first to do so since Peyton. Then after ripping up Missouri for 355 in the air in his final game at Neyland Stadium, he got that honor.
Pretty cool.
It's a laugher a week ago, but the Gamecocks, some fight early. Tennessee did answer in a minute. And now here comes Josh Vann trying to create some field position, and he gets the edge, but is stepped out of bounds at about the 33-yard line.
Let's go back to this touchdown, the double team. Watch the left guard be able to pick this up, Jerome Carvin, and then you get the tight end right here as well, Jacob Warren, and watch how they open this up. There's the double team. And here comes your tight end to go up to that linebacker, boom, and then it's just you're back making a play and making people miss. I mean, great execution up front. That's right after the big scramble. Defense is just trying to get their bearings, and they were able to run the football. That combination is what makes this offense so tough to stop.
Going to work his way back in traffic. That's a nice move there by Xavier Legette, and he's worked out across the 40. Matt Berry in a very busy, eventful day in college football.
Chris Fowler, it certainly was, and they needed the end in all 4 quarters at Ohio State to get by Maryland. Steel Chambers here, scoop and score. Ohio State 89-0 and scoring 30 points in 2014. If Herbie's coat had a character name on game day, it'd be called Steel Chambers.
Ah, nothing for the hat, huh? Just the coat.
The whole look worked. Your toes are intact. No frostbite there.
Thawed out.
Bozeman.
Ready to go.
Okay.
It was beautiful. Cold, but beautiful.
7 and first down means that Jaheim Bell can just plow forward. And he's going to be stopped about a yard short of the marker.
You and I were talking about at the break. I mean, South Carolina puts together this epic drive. We were talking about gets the crowd into it, but it was so much work. They converted a 4th down. We can do this. They score with Bell into the corner. Tennessee gets the ball. Bang, 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 touchdown. And now you got to go back out there. I mean, that's an answer.
Yeah.
In a minute 3.
7th straight game the Vols have scored in their opening possession.
Blink of an eye.
So 3rd and 1. Bell is the back. It's Legette in motion, and Bell, again, the converted tight end. Didn't really play running back in high school, played everything else. He's stopped short, and now a decision for Shane Beamer, 4th down in his end of the field.
You know, when you don't have a ton of experience as a running back, he's really almost more of a fullback, you know, an H-back. Marcus Satterfield, the offensive coordinator, and Shane Beamer, they told us coming into tonight, listen, we got to, with our backs down, we got to come up with different looks, and we got to be aggressive, and you're probably going to see me going for it a lot on 4th down against the offense that we're facing. After a minute and 3, I think we understand what he's talking about.
Under center. Hand off in the middle. That's Bell again, working hard. Looks like he just got across the 45 for a first down.
Remember, you got 4 seniors on that offensive line. There's actually penetration from Barron, the opposite side. See him get in there, 9, collapses down right there. That's what almost kept him short. Really good play there by Tyler Barron off the edge, but hit a seam and kind of a creased inside there and almost came up with a play of the night so far for Tennessee's defense. But Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks catch a break.
Belliga is recruited as a linebacker by Oklahoma. And Beamer is there by Michigan as well. Off the play action, Rattler a deep drop and throws deep downfield, and the catch is made at the 30 by Juice Wells again. Rattler's on target early.
He is. They do a good job of selling this to the post to get the defender out of position. This is who you're attacking right here, Jalen McCullough. Watch the move to the inside. He's going to sell this, and then he's going to work back to the outside to try to create that separation.
54 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
Javon Gwynn, the right guard, was ruled to be inelibly downfield, and takes off that big completion. Kind of came out late.
Yeah, a great throw, but a really good route there by Wells. Only to come back after the illegal man downfield.
He's their best offensive lineman. Gwynn, a guy who's making his 45th start, drifted just a bit too far beyond the line of scrimmage, so it's 1st and 15 instead of first down to the Vols 30. Rattler steps up. Another downfield shot. It's caught. Josh Vann, touchdown, South Carolina. 2 possessions, 2 scores. 60 yards. Well, Josh Vann's a guy who's had a winding journey through his college career. It's his 5th season. And that was a huge play to answer Tennessee's answer.
Man, what a throw.
That was a quicker drive that time, Kirk. 65 yards, 5 plays, about 3 minutes.
Well, no one's ever going to question Spencer Rattler's arm strength. This time it's a one-on-one play. Perfectly designed by Marcus Satterfield to set it up. What a close call, just outside of the reach of Slaughter, and it's another touchdown for Rattler and the Gamecocks.
It's at the club here in Columbia. This place is jumping high above. Aerial coverage brought to you by Goodyear, celebrating the challenge of road games everywhere. Are you ready for the road? Goodyear, more driven. The raucous road environments are a part of SEC week in, week out. First time the Vols have played a night game away from home, and the crowd here anxious, maybe a lot of them, by what they saw from their team in Gainesville a week ago. Enjoying so far the first 9 minutes of this one.
No doubt.
Holiday will let this one bounce into the end zone.
So they've been attacking McCullough downfield early in this game, the safety, to try to get him matched up one-on-one right here. So that's the initial look, right? Watch what happens to the inside. Once he's taken to the inside, look Josh Vann to the outside. It opens up, ball's thrown to the middle. Once McCullough was taken away, that opened it up. So great patience by Rattler. Reeds comes off of that McCullough safety read. That's taken away. It opened it up nicely on Josh Vann one-on-one against Slaughter, and a great throw.
You see if Tennessee can quickly answer the answer to the answer. Not answer so far. No,
maybe that kind of
no stops yet.
Again, people that have not watched Josh Heupel and Hendon Hooker a lot, they spread you sideline to sideline. Look at the splits by these receivers.
In the pocket, here's the slant. Brew McCoy again, another first down.
And by spreading you out sideline to sideline, like literally they are sideline to sideline, it creates all that space for the run game and then also in the pass game.
Gamecocks barely lined up. They hand it off to Small, who runs for about 3 on first down to the 40.
And I really thought that Alex Golesh made a really good point to offensive coordinator, saying that, you know, because of the way we played last time we were on the road against Georgia, we let the crowd affect us. We don't want to. We want to attack on these first few possessions.
There's a flag out. Hooker is pressured and delivers a strike downfield, and the catch is made by Jalen Hyatt, but this one's going to come back. It's in the holding zone.
Spraggins got beat and just tackled.
Holding, number 76 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. 3-play second down.
Not a pass rush that's been all that ferocious this year. They try to blitz a lot to get to the quarterback. Holly?
South Carolina defense is doing something they haven't done all season, using wristbands. All the players have a wristband. They're trying to quickly get up after the play is dead. Look at this sideline. Some are checking the wristbands. Some just know the calls off the top of their head. About 13 calls on those wristbands. It was the players' idea. They knew they had to be ready to go quickly play to play.
It is interesting, Holly. The players came to Clayton White, the defensive coordinator, with that idea, and now they get to Hooker and sack him back at the 30. That was Tonka Hemingway, a tremendous athlete.
Well, he almost got in on the previous play, and that's where Spraggins had the holding call. I mean, he's showing some quickness in the inside here. Look at that move for a big man. He kind of is able to use lateral quickness, and when you get Hendon Hooker in a rare passing situation, it allows that front to be able to forget the running game and just get upfield, use your best move.
3rd and 28. And with the noise, there's a shot airmailed over at Hyatt. Said that was a rough sequence for this high-powered Volunteer offense. Here comes the punt team.
Well, that's the whole thing. With this is what we saw throughout the game against Georgia on the road. Crowd became a factor. Saw them make some mistakes, holding calls, false starts, got him behind the sticks. And then you get them into more obvious situations. When they're the aggressor and they get the running game going, it's a whole different thing trying to stop this offense.
Paxton Brooks only punted 23 times this season. Vann, who just caught the touchdown pass, is set up to return it. High kick, and Vann waves for a fair catch and settles under it at the 36-yard line.
And the story of the night, to me, has been the way Spencer Rattler is playing. We thought, okay, he's been a little tentative since throwing a lot of interceptions early in the year. Boy, has he come out throwing the football. His coaches, led by Shane Beamer, challenged him. Hey, man, if we're going to win, if we're going to compete, we've got to let you feel free to turn it loose. Don't be worried about making a mistake here or there. We want you to play free. We believe in you, and let's see what you can do in trying to keep up and show that you're the quarterback tonight that's ready to win this game. And early in this game, he's taken that challenge on and made some plays.
He's cut down on the interception. Such a rough start to this season. 4 in the last 6 games. Leggett on the end around. We asked Shane Beamer, what's the team's attitude to Rattler coming in here with a lot of hype? He said, no, they have his trust. They respect the hell out of him, work ethic, and he is still bought all in.
No doubt, no doubt. And I think it's his approach. I think it's really his skill set, how talented he is. And I think this guy dealt with some pressure at Oklahoma. He was a Heisman frontrunner. You and I were right there. Yep. Got booed off of his own field. And then Caleb Williams took over, and he sat there. He came in here. I think he felt some of that same pressure.
At the play action, tries to escape the pressure. Now just has to deliver a long throw. And what a job to get the ball away and make a play to the 41. Mitchell was in hot pursuit.
I don't know how he got that ball off, let alone he's able to throw it accurate enough to be able to get it completion. And a really good job of being able to work back to the football. You see your quarterback that's in trouble. Wells coming back to the ball, does a good job of staying in bounds. That right foot came very close, but he stays in bounds for that completion. Gives him a chance here on 3rd down. Thought he might just throw that away.
We've seen the scramble. We've seen the escapability of Rattler. They need 5 on this 3rd down. It's McDowell who goes in motion. He gets the swing pass, gets a couple of blocks, makes a move, and has a 1st down across the 47-yard line.
What a block by Joyner. Here's a guy that does Wildcat, right? He's going to play Wildcat quarterback. He played quarterback in high school. Good job of getting it out there. There's the block right there. Outstanding, and that's what actually gets him to be able to have a chance. You got to have some blocks, those stock blocks from the receivers. Get the ball out in space. McDowell can make people miss. He's undersized, but incredibly quick.
What a confidence builder for this offense that was just reeling a week ago in the swamp.
I know.
Up the play action, Rattler looks downfield and launches, and the catch is made inside the 20 by Jalen Brooks. Another accurate deep ball.
Well, they went with 2 tight ends on 1st and 10, and by doing that, look at all the Vol defenders. Everybody's up expecting a run. Perfect time for play action. See on the back end the separation, running away from the man-to-man coverage. Love the aggressive nature. Jalen Brooks doing what he needs to do and holds on for that big play, and another pass play of over 20 yards. That's the 4th of the night for Beamer and this offense.
Down in the red zone, trying to build him this early lead. Rattler looking to throw in 1st down. Pump fake, launch end zone, and beautifully broken up there. Brandon Turnage got up there. What did Shane tell us pregame? Hey, we're going to take some shots, test those guys in coverage. He watched the Kentucky-Georgia game this afternoon. Yeah. He kind of gained some hope from that.
Yeah.
As the Wildcats were challenging Georgia.
And I think the attitude when you're 6-4, you're bowl eligible, and you're playing 9-1, a team that's having a dream season. You're up 14-7. Some people might say, okay, let's be careful. Let's be cautious. Instead, you're continuing to attack downfield, continue to try to make big plays.
Bell and McDowell in the backfield. They were on 2nd and 10, and now Bell motions out, catches the pass behind the line. It's a backwards pass. He is hit hard. It takes a lot to get him to the ground. Mitchell finally does so. 3rd down now.
Can't say enough about Marcus Satterfield and what he's doing, what he has to work with. Mixing up the looks, personnel groupings, formations, aggressive play calling, taking some shots out wide, just try to get the ball out in space to guys that can wiggle and make room. You know, be able to make plays when they have room, then taking shots downfield. I mean, he's limited here without Lloyd and Beal Smith, but coming up with a good plan.
We met Marcus when he worked for Matt Rule at Temple, and then at Baylor, and then also was with him in the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
Pro-style attack here in Columbia. Need 5 on 3rd. Tennessee brings some pressure, but leaves McDowell open, makes a man miss. Touchdown, South Carolina! Are you kidding me? 3 for 3 so far. You would have never expected this if you'd have seen the tape of these two teams a week ago.
No. This is what makes it so great, right? From one week to the next in college football, you just never know.
And Spencer Rattler hasn't been sensational all season, but you talked about it. He's got the arm talent, and you can never count out a dude with this much of a skill set.
Absolutely. They have Stogner and Wells right here, Chris. They're going to work to the inside, and then you're going to leak the back out of the backfield, and nobody picks him up. Look at the defense's eyes. Even the DB right here, watch how he kind of loses his way. And now it's a one-on-one matchup. So good job of affecting the eyes. Go back to what's the goal. Get players like Juju McDowell in space. Let them make people miss like that right there and be able to get into the end zone.
Yeah, Turnage, who made a great play a moment ago, just whiffed on that one. This Tennessee defense a little shell-shocked. They gave up some big plays to Missouri in that emphatic win. They ended up having 700 yards, but South Carolina having fun so far.
Emotion. Can just never predict emotion. TCU and Baylor today. Michigan trying to find a way to beat Illinois, Ohio State, and Maryland. And there's just so many games today where the emotions of the game, an underdog gets that belief. They start running around with that adrenaline. Become a tough team to beat on a given night.
And Mitch Jeter kicking off already for the third time. He's pumped up. He drives this one well into the end zone. Holly?
Well, Juju McDowell was hilarious in his press conference this week. He was trying to describe the emotions of playing in what he calls Willie B, Williams-Brice Stadium. He said it's like you're a 9-year-old little kid and your favorite candy is Reese's. Somebody comes to you and says, I got a ton of Reese's. He said that's what it's like when you run out of the tunnel and you see the joy and the excitement he's playing with out here. He might not be 9 years old, but that joyfulness is still in his eyes, and he's having a blast in Willie B tonight.
Yeah, Willie B is rocking, that's for sure. And Tennessee, he scored like lightning in the first possession, but the second series was rough.
Got behind the sticks.
Protected.
Yeah.
Hooker has time here and gets it out to Jalen Hyatt, but he can't escape. Tough wrestling match. That's Cam Smith. These two guys figure to see a lot of each other tonight, and Smith's a dude with a lot of pride trying to shut down number 11.
Hey, this is why I came here tonight. I want to see that matchup with Cam Smith, who a lot of people feel is one of the top corners in the country, against Jalen Hyatt, who's receiving all this hype in his Tennessee offense and making all these big plays this year for the Vols.
Hyatt's first catch tonight goes for 5 yards, the FBS leader with 15 touchdown receptions. Hooker, and that was a miscommunication. Hyatt broke the route off, and the ball sent downfield.
When we asked Shane Beamer, you know, you're coming off that loss to Florida. What are you most confident in? What do you feel with all these injuries is a strength of your team? The first thing he said were the two corners that we have to match up, Cam Smith and Darius Rush. We feel we can leave them on islands. They're not going to win every time, but we feel these are the best two corners on one team that they faced this year.
It's loud on 3rd and 5. And Beamer asking for more. Cool, he delivered from the pocket, but flags come out. They're going to get the interference call. That was DQ Smith, another true freshman back there, the nickelback.
Trying to make a play with his left arm.
On the defense, number 27. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Always worry about hooking that hip. There it is with the right hand. Maybe a little bit. We got to it just a little bit late, but you could see a little bit before that he got his right hand on the hip of the receiver. Remember, he's a true freshman. DQ Smith out there.
On the first down, this is Jalen Wright with the carry, and he's going to pick up about 7 off the right side. Just takes one first down to get the tempo crank for this offense. Final 12 seconds of the first quarter. Pitch on the edge to Squirrel White. scoots forward for a first down before Dial brings him down.
So this is Tennessee. This is who they're about. Obviously, the big part of their tempo. They get first downs. They get you more back on your heels.
This really hasn't been South Carolina, though, Kirk. 214 yards of offense, 3 touchdowns, and 3 possessions for the Gamecocks. And after one Columbia, it's 21-7. You're watching ESPN College Football Primetime. Stunning start here in Columbia. Welcome back, ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Subway. In this presentation of the SEC on ESPN. Well, last year's meeting also featured 28 points in Knoxville, all 28 scored by the Vols. Very different start here tonight. Again, quarter number 2. Hooker looks to throw on the far side, and coming back to catch it is Hyatt.
Great.
Should be Tillman.
Great poise there, Chris, by Hooker. That brought both those middle linebackers, and instead of bailing out, trust the protection there. The back to be able to pick that up, sits there and makes a nice throw.
And Wright breaks through for a first down across the 30. I'm surprised to see Cedric Tillman. You know, he's battled injuries all season long. Really sort of led to believe he wasn't going to be able to go, but it must have been a miraculous warm-up.
Yeah.
he's out there contributing.
Yeah, the leader of that receiver group.
Serious weapon. Yeah, brings leadership.
Yep.
And they thought they might bring him on the road just for that role. Instead, he's out there making plays.
By the way, that's 73 yards rushing so far for Tennessee. Not just always, people want to talk about Hyatt and Hendon Hooker in the pass game. It really all starts up front.
There's Hyatt. He does make the catch, and he's in the red zone for a Volunteer first down.
But Cam Smith gave him a big cushion because of the respect he has for Hyatt. Knows about his ability to stretch a defense, and he's able to run a nice route and come back.
Hand it off inside. Wright stopped in the backfield. Diving in there to make the play was TJ Sanders, the defensive tackle.
So many games within a game tonight. We talked about Cam Smith against Jalen Hyatt. He's kind of shadowing him tonight. But the linebackers from South Carolina against this line in this running game, can they hold up?
On the slant, Tillman again, his 3rd catch. Dial knocks him down just short of the marker. What a difference he can make.
Oh.
He may not be full speed yet.
No.
But his presence can be felt out there.
6'3", 215.
And barreling inside the 5 for a first and goal is Wright.
Great push on that left side.
It's just relentless, this tempo. Gamecocks, you know, Shane Beamer said we try to simulate it.
You can't.
They can't even look at the wristbands Holly was talking about at this point.
No, and look at, you got some guys, TJ Sanders out there, hands on the hips. Can't really substitute because Tennessee's not. So you get a fatigued defense. You're just trying to get lined up. Here they come again.
By Volunteer standards, this is methodical. The 12th play of the drive coming up. Off the fake, Hooker batted down at the line of scrimmage. Couldn't get it past big Sherrod Green, the middle backer, most experienced defender, one of the leaders of that group.
He's looking at a lot of different things, but by putting Hyatt in that stacked formation, 2 defenders went to the inside and completely lost Jalen Hyatt. He was all alone in the left flat.
3rd and goal. Gamecocks crowding the line. Hooker has time, delivers, but misfires. Tillman was open, had a step. Now it's 4th and goal.
He not only had a step, he had about 4 or 5 steps. I mean, he was wide open, able to get really good separation against man-to-man. It's a ball that Hendon Hooker 9 times out of 10 this year makes, but that time just not quite on point.
Threw a fastball, didn't really need to be that quick. Here we go. Chance for the Gamecocks defense to make this an empty possession on the 14th play of the drive. Play clock's at 5 already. 2-1. They rarely huddle up and take that much time, and they were very late getting out of the huddle. So Heupel will take a timeout. 4th and goal. Gamecocks trying to protect a 14-point lead. Turns out it was Shane Beamer who called time. There was some confusion with his defense. Heupel was about trying to call timeout with a play clock down at 1, but big moment here in this second quarter.
I think what Shane Beamer was frustrated with, there was a substitution by Tennessee. They just didn't step over top of the ball and allow the Gamecocks to make the same adjustments.
Into that student section. 2 tight ends for the Vols sent out to the right side. White is the back. Hooker for the end zone. Jump ball caught. Touchdown. Tillman, welcome back. Cedric Tillman making a huge impact when most figured he wouldn't play tonight. And a 4th down touchdown to cut into this lead.
You're going to be on an island. You got to make plays. This is what it's all about. You know, when you defend this offense, you've got to be able to put your best players in a position. And that's Cam Smith, one of the top corners in college football, one-on-one with a big man at receiver in Cedric Tillman, and Tillman and Hendon Hooker win that matchup.
They've been doing a lot of this pyrotechnics on offense without a healthy Tillman. He's only played 5 games this year. When he was healthy last year, dude had a 200-yard game against Georgia. That all-world defense last year had a 500-yard game.
That says it all right there.
He's healthy. He's a force.
Yeah, look at the slot fade. Gives him plenty of room. Take Brew McCoy to the inside. That takes that defender out of the way. So it's one-on-one. Give your receiver a chance. Adjust to that back shoulder. Sees the ball. Cam Smith never does. Easy adjustment. Touchdown Vols.
Sharp play from both quarterbacks tonight. Hooker's first touchdown pass, but he's 9 of 13. More short-range stuff. Now this Tennessee defense, coming off the worst quarter of the season, goes back out on the field and tries to get their first stop tonight.
What's the thing? When you play Tennessee, you could have a good quarter, or you could have a good little run, build a nice lead, but as you know, with their offense, they're never out of it. They believe that they can get themselves back in it, so you can't just ride a wave and think that's going to be good enough. It's got to be a 60-minute fight of intensity to be able to stand in the middle of the ring with them.
Really well said. Brooks to boot it short again. They're trying to keep it away from the talent of returners, and Austin Stogner, transfer from Oklahoma, makes the catch. Back to Matt Barry.
Yeah, Chris, it's been one of those days when the top teams in the country have struggled to get some wins. Right now, Oklahoma just picked off Oklahoma State. They're up 14-0 in Bedlam. And look what Georgia Tech is doing on the road at North Carolina. They're moving the ball down just 3 in the 4th quarter. And early in Arkansas, Ole Miss, Arkansas, 7-0 Woo Pig over on SEC Network.
It is one of those Saturdays, isn't it?
Man.
Wow.
I mean, when you looked at the slate this morning, even on College Game Day, you're like, well, I mean, got to stay sharp. We'll see who's disciplined. And you never expected something like this, right?
Rattler zips a long throw. Look at the arm strength on display as Juice Wells goes down low. It's a first down again.
There's that release everybody's using, and he's been trained since he was so young. Look at how quick. This is a shortstop. Pat Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, everybody doing that kind of release to go with the velocity and the accuracy. Boy, Rattler off to such a good start.
He's dropping dimes all over the field, looking to throw again in first down. It's underneath, and the catch is made by big old Nate Atkins, whose dad, Greg, is the offensive line coach here in South Carolina.
Let's see the big fella get a chance.
Get about offensive linemen playing tight end.
Yeah.
A little contrast between the game in the swamp and the start so far tonight.
Yeah, I think so.
Almost equal the yardage total for the whole game. Bell banging forward, and they'll spot him right at the marker. It is going to be a first down.
Some great collisions out there when he gets the ball. Solon Page was filling in 38 very nicely, enough to get the first. Good
aggressive approach, Kirk, on early downs. They're not just trying to run it. The running game's going to be a struggle tonight.
Yeah.
They're letting Rattler rip early and downs to avoid those 3rd and longs.
And a lot of times it's in the 2 tight end set. I mean, that's where we've seen some of their big plays. They give you that look where you think they're going to run the ball, and they're breaking a lot of tendencies.
Joyner and Wildcat hands it off to Brown on the end around, and he's in the open. Amarian Brown makes a cut down inside the Tennessee 20. Wow.
Well, we saw last time he was in, they took away the quarterback, and took away the running back and receiver. This time they take the quarterback, and it gives you the edge. And again, you're running downhill. You've got speed on that. When you run that play, that power read, you're giving that ball at full speed to a wide receiver in Brown and pick up a couple blocks. And just like that, he's into the open field down that right sideline.
Excellent creativity to find a way to run the ball. Now it's a reverse. Rattler's open. They flip it to him. Quarterback makes the catch and is wrestled down inside the 5. Joyner threw the pass. We talked about the ex-quarterback.
Yeah, he's been in the Wildcat tonight. So Tennessee, because he's moving around in different places, he's right here. I mean, he can throw the football. High school quarterback, played in the bowl game last year, was 9 for 9. He threw a touchdown pass a few weeks ago against Vandy. Obviously very comfortable in that position. And Rattler, little peek, he's thinking about trying to get that ball to the end zone. Hey.
And now you got Joyner again at Wildcat. Bell lined up to his left, 1st and goal. Brown again, makes a cut, stretches, did not break the plane. That football was out there dangerously, and they'll spot him just short.
That was a sprint by Tennessee. Wesley Walker, 13, saved the touchdown right there by forcing him back to the inside, and he just misses by stretching that ball. Break the plane? No.
Here's the progressive pylon cam. Just going to make sure you hold on to it and not get loose.
Looked like Jawan Mitchell pulling him back, not letting him get to that goal line.
So we're seeing plenty of this wrinkle. Rattler on the sidelines. Joyner in the game, 2 tight ends. Power set. And he just powers in. DeCarrion Joyner threw a pass to Rattler to set up the touchdown. 4 possessions, 4 touchdowns for South Carolina. Up by 2 scores again.
You go on the road in the SEC, you better bring your fastball, especially at night. These atmospheres are tough, and when you get an offense that's got some belief.
Better bring your defense, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Gamecocks touchdown drives, 75, 65, 64, 74 yards. They got 288 of offense in the first 21 minutes. And lead by 2 scores over Tennessee. We got a shootout, full-on shootout in Columbia tonight. We had our condolences, the 3 football players of Virginia murdered on Sunday night. Memorial service in Charlottesville this afternoon. Tony Elliott, so emotional. LaBelle Davis, Woodland High School here in South Carolina, very active in social causes. Model teammate Devin Chandler comes from Charlotte, military family, so proud of his dad, a former Navy fighter pilot. And Sean Perry from Miami, musician, artist, a guy known to spread joy to his teammates. Game for the Cavaliers canceled this afternoon, but high emotions inside the basketball arena. We send our support to the Tony Elliott, the entire Virginia football community.
Just heartbreaking. The story, just something you can't even believe. And as you said, our thoughts, prayers, and condolences to all the
players
families.
of South Carolina. Kirk asked to honor those 3 Virginia players, and there's the helmet sticker and the V for Virginia on the bottom of the helmet tonight.
Yeah, it's great. I think throughout the nation, the football community really showing their support.
Tennessee wearing that decal as well.
Yeah. Tony Elliott, who's been through so much himself in his own life, has been very stoic. I know you mentioned that they had the service today, and he'll be a great person to be able to reach to and support the families.
Hyatt takes it, breaks a tackle, and Jalen Hyatt accelerates for a 1st down out across the 40, shoved out by, or blocked by Princeton Fant.
So Tennessee finding different ways again to get their playmaker Jalen Hyatt involved.
small. Into a clogged middle. Picks up a couple of yards here. Brad Johnson from his linebacker position.
Again, I want to see Brad Johnson, Sherrod Green, 19 and 44. Trying to stack up there in the inside. Got to be physical tonight. They're a bit undersized.
Off the fake, Hooker launches downfield, and it's over the head of Cedric Tillman. Well covered that time by Marcellus Dial.
And once they're able to run the ball, make you aware of that. You get your eyes starting to look and peek into the backfield. And with those big wide splits, the reason they have those wide splits is make you declare where you're going to commit numbers and then create vertical seams and shots downfield.
Volunteers just 1 for 3 on third down tonight. Need 7 here. Pressure picked up, ball out, but catching it short of the first down is Tillman. His knee was on the turf when he caught it. They're actually spotting it up at the 50, but it's going to be about the length of a football short. The offense is right up there going for it. No hesitation, the sneak, and it's a first down. Defense couldn't even get set.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to know with Tennessee, if it's 3rd and short or 4th and short, you better get lined up because here comes a quarterback sneak. Hooker's an outstanding athletic quarterback that can throw, but also very comfortable in those situations, and he, because of his confidence in his system, goes fast.
3 receivers bunch to the right. Hooker launches downfield again. If you like downfield shots, this is your game because both sides are taking a bunch of them.
Well, again, that's the matchup. Cam Smith against Jalen Hyatt, one-on-one. Really good coverage by Cam Smith, trying to create that confusion. How many times do we see Kentucky get confused or Alabama get confused? South Carolina's come into this game and said, hey, listen, no matter where he goes, pre-snap movement, 9, we want you to follow number 11. That's going to be your role tonight. That's what we need from you.
Dylan Sampson, the freshman, is in the backfield on 2nd and 10. Hope these guys are in shape. These DBs and receivers. You got to hurry. Play clock at 1. Does he see it? Well, Heupel did. And he'll have to spend a timeout to avoid the 5-yard penalty.
Chris, you just brought up a great point about you see Hyatt go out of the game and he had his hands on it. Cam Smith didn't get to go out of the game. No. So you rotate different receivers. Meanwhile, these defensive backs have to stay out there and try to defend this offense.
Volunteers trying to chip way down 2 scores midway 2nd. Exclusive reveal of the latest CFP top 25 rankings Tuesday night, of course, in prime time. Reese, Kirk, and the guys will break it down. Very nearly it was shake-up Saturday, but I told you TCU, Michigan escaping. They trailed for almost the entire 4th quarter before walk-off field goals for TCU and a near walk-off for Michigan.
Yeah, Ohio State as well. I mean, you think it'd be an easy win for them against Maryland. And Maryland right there scoring a lot of points.
Hooker on the keeper, spun down after a solid gain. It'll set up 3rd and about 3. Jordan Birch for the tackle.
I love when they sprinkle in Hooker on the design QB run because of what it does to the safeties and the way they have to pay attention to him. Just enough to make, as a reminder, get their eyes lined up, and then you get one-on-one.
2 by 2, the receivers, and on the slant, the catch is made by big Princeton Fant, and the tight end is still running a late flag near where the tackle was made.
How about that window? How tight that was.
Fant, a hybrid player for Tennessee.
Personal foul, targeting number 21 on the defense. The previous play is under further review.
And Nick Amon-Wari, the true freshman, starts at safety for the Gamecocks.
Get a drop here and a drop here. Watch how tight this window is on a 3rd down throw by Hooker. Puts it right through there. And that is a beautiful throw, and I think he's going to be thrown out. I mean, he lowers his head. Bang, right there. That's a textbook example of targeting.
Totally agree with you. He's got the crown of the helmet down, forcible contact.
It's a true freshman who leads the team in tackles.
It'll be a loss if he is, as we expect, excluded from the rest of the game here. A guy who's a local guy, has come on, as you said, pressed into duty. He's the top tackler. He's like a freshman All-American type season that he's having.
Big guy, too. He's 6'4", 218 pounds.
David Smith in charge of the crew here for the SEC. Stan Murray is the replay official. I mean, Shane knows he's going to have to do without his safety.
Bill Bear asked, does it matter that the receiver lowers his helmet?
No, because when you use the crown of your helmet, I can't go to your head to your toes, technically, by rule.
Yep.
So you changing your body position on me means absolutely nothing.
Thank you, sir.
He would have had to turn his body to make the contact with his shoulder to avoid the penalty there.
Yeah, the defender, he would have had to make an adjustment so that he didn't have the crown down.
After further review, targeting by number 21 is confirmed with the crown of the helmet. That penalty is half the distance to the goal. First down.
See the frustration for Imanwari. He was off to a big start tonight, made 6 tackles already. They'll have to do without him.
And now they throw another true freshman. This is a life of Shane Beamer. Peyton Williams now comes in. 31 will come in for 21. So you lose one true freshman, leads you in tackles. You can see the emotional player he is. And then you throw in again Williams here out of Heath, Texas.
Talked about DQ Smith, another freshman who's been starting his safety tonight. They're young back there.
I mean, you're a true freshman, and it's amazing with the development of these players anymore around the country in middle school and high school that allows them to come on the field and go up against Hendon Hooker and an offense that leads the nation in scoring.
Penalty moves the ball to the 14. Yet Hyatt and Tillman, a lot of talent on the right side of that formation at receiver. Dylan Sampson's the back. They hand it to him. And Sampson, another freshman from Baton Rouge. Knocked down by Brad Johnson.
They'll try to protect Peyton Williams out there, but at some point he's going to have to make plays, not just in run support, but he'll be out there in islands. That's just part of the defense that you play, trying to defend this offense.
And it off inside. The old cover zero, right? And you've got single coverage on guys like Tillman and Hyatt who are darn near impossible to stop.
No doubt. Again, when they stretch you sideline to sideline, they just tip your hand.
3rd and 4. Another long march by the Volunteers. 11th play of the drive here. Hooker flips it. Sampson out of the backfield, and he is chopped down immediately by Cam Smith. 4th down now.
Well, he looked over the sideline and he thought he had man-to-man coverage, but he didn't. Cam Smith came off of man, so pre-snap look, they showed Josh Heupel from the sideline, hey, we're in man-to-man, 0 coverage. So they thought they had a matchup that they wanted, and Cam Smith came off of it. Like I said, it makes a great play. Good job in the sky
for this defense. Now Chase McGrath will come on for a chip shot here of 27 yards. The Gamecocks will take that. Cuts the lead down to 11, but here's the play by Smith on 4th down.
Yeah, he looks like they're man-to-man. You know, you see both these guys aligned, same on the left, so they think, okay, we got what we want. Let's get the back out, get him out there with some linemen. But Cam Smith does a nice job, again, not just man-to-man skills, but the ability to make plays in the open field and make tackles like that.
Student section fired up. The Taco Bell Live Más Student Section of the Year contest continues. I don't know if there was the expectation, even among those students who are pretty hardcore here, that this was possible. You got a major upset potentially brewing here. Gamecocks up 11. About 5 minutes before halftime, and they have gone 4 for 4 touchdowns 4 possessions. And they haven't done that since 2013.
Wow. And Marcus Satterfield, the offensive coordinator, with 2 of his best running backs out, knew he'd have to come up with some wrinkles. Dakarian Joyner's been a big part of that, number 5. And the Wildcat out at receiver with a great block to pick up a first down there. Saw him make a throw. We know he can do this on the end round. You throw the ball out to Rattler, make that play. And then back to the Wildcat, showing the toughness to be able to get into the end zone. So it's been that kind of night for South Carolina, not your traditional matchups. A lot of different formations, a lot of different wrinkles, and it's been working very, very well here early.
Joyner back at quarterback to open this series. They fake the end around, and he is smacked in the backfield. Not fooled that time was Dejon Terry, excuse me.
Yeah, you know, you think about trying to get the ball out here, but when you lose up here, it completely blows this play up. You're trying to get that ball either out on the perimeter, or you come off of that read and you try to get behind a guard block, and you're not counting on that. I can tell you that. Terry is 320 pounds. I think Joyner looked up and said, whoa, where did he come from?
Kansas transfers where he came from. He is a strong run stopper in there. Rattler back in the game on 2nd and 11. That ball deflected at the line and falls to the turf. Murray Thomas got a hand on it. To Matt Berry.
Chris, you were talking about a potential upset brewing there in Columbia. I've got one for you that's a bit eye-popping. Hassan Hall here for Georgia Tech gives them the lead, 21-17 over North Carolina, that one in the 4th quarter. Plus, look what Oklahoma is doing in Bedlam. 28-0 over Oklahoma State, end of the 1st quarter.
The weirdness is widespread today in college football and tonight.
I can't. Georgia Tech's defense.
I know.
Putting it on Drake May in North Carolina?
Wow.
My gosh.
Gamecocks, you know, the 3rd and long here if they're going to keep their perfect night. It's a team that has been really turnover prone, a quarterback who has struggled at times this year. They have come out with confidence. Rattler delivering strong pitches all over the field. They get the stop, holding Tennessee to a field goal here. They're going to have the lead at halftime, it looks like.
Yeah, you have 4:16 to go. I think Shane Beamer deserves a lot of credit for the way he had his team ready to play tonight. It's a team that last week at Gainesville, things could not have gone any worse. Then you get your best running backs out, and you got to come up with a plan to try to stay up against Hendon Hooker. And so far in this first half, they've been able to do that. And they've also been very calculated with their timeouts, just making sure on 3rd downs, whether it's been on offense or defense, to get them in position to be able to make the right plays that they need to make.
I love the psychology of the stretch run in college football. Either maybe you're looking ahead to rivalry game, or there's the pressure of being in playoff mode. We're seeing it all over the country
100%,
today.
100%.
Rattler has time, launches downfield, catch made, flag out. Jaheim Bell, no, couldn't hold on to it. It was broken up there. Turnage knocked it out, and there was a flag down.
That flag came out early. I think he might have grabbed on.
Holding, number 8 on the defense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
And that's what it was, the jersey grab on the way by.
I think it was early, grabbing onto that jersey. Yeah, right there, not near the end. But by the way, how about the throw by Rattler again? I mean, that's a perfectly thrown ball, 45 yards downfield.
That should have been made. It would have been able to decline the penalty and been set up in Volunteer territory. It's just the 3rd incompletion for Rattler tonight. 3 touchdowns already. Now Bell and back in the backfield, showing you his versatility, and knocked down after about a 4-yard gain by Mitchell.
Getting a little chippy out there. Tennessee frustrated. 4 drives for South Carolina, 4 touchdowns will do that to you. I want to give a shout out to this offensive line. We're getting so caught up in the quarterback of what Rattler's doing, the receivers, Satterfield, the play calling. But man, every time he drops back to throw, for the most part, Rattler is back there with time to throw, that's a feat within itself, because Byron Young and company, they love to pressure the quarterback, but man, he's had time.
Yeah, no sacks allowed. Rattler, another downfield shot, and trying to make a leaping catch as Juice Wells off his hand. There's a lot of experience on those big guys up front, Kirk. 179 combined starts. That is priceless in college football when you see so many inexperienced linemen around the country.
Yeah, I mean, you got 4 seniors. They've been through some good, some bad, some ugly, but they lived through it. They become better players And I think they play with confidence, especially when your team is having some success. You put a plan together that's got some different looks that you're not accustomed to running. And I think the play calling is really helping slow down this Tennessee pass rush. They're bringing the big man in here for protection, Atkins.
Rattler takes off. Can he get there? Stiff arm. That time, no slide. He muscled Flowers out of bounds and moves the sticks.
Little jaw in there. You knew that was going to come with Flowers and Rattler. Wondered if a flag might come out there, just because anytime there's contact near the sideline. I'd love to see this from the competitive spirit by Rattler. Stiff arm, ends up going down. That's the leading tackler, the safety, Flowers. He takes that stiff arm right to the face. Safeties don't like that coming from a quarterback. He's not going to take that, especially on his own sideline. You know he's going to come up chirping.
You know what DB's think? How come we get penalized for stuff like that? And the quarterback can just hammer us in the face. Rattler steps up, wanted to throw downfield, and he has knocked down hard. First sack of the night, draws an ooh from the crowd. Tamarian McDonald hit him hard.
Well, he's done such a good job of avoiding these kind of plays, but this time I think McDonald got on him so quickly and he went airborne. He was about to make a throw to Stogner, just kind of throw it away.
Holding on the defense, number 5. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Sack nullified. Kamal Hadden, the second defensive holding penalty on this series.
Okay. Watch him go airborne, about to try to throw it away, and then he just had to give up on the play. But boy, he took a big hit. But they catch a break with the penalty on Hadden. Right back in this area back here. Right there's where you see the hold. Wasn't a lot, but enough for the official to make the call.
Big play instead of a sack.
Oh, yeah.
Setting them way back. They were set up in the first down at the Volunteer 46. Don't take too many of those.
Just what McDonald wanted to see, a quarterback who's had a big night in the air, helpless.
Bell motions out. Rattler faked it to him. Now throws downfield. Excellent play design. Juice Wells couldn't make the catch, though. Turnage knocked it loose again.
Good little shoulder shake out to the flat just to make the corner freeze, and then it creates a nice opening behind the corner and in front of the safety. But he had to throw it on a line, which he does. Great concentration. Oh, the ball did hit the ground. And a good call by the officials to bring that one back.
You said there's a uptick in the feistiness of this game in the last few plays here.
Oh, yeah.
There's some hitting going on out there. 3 receivers to the right. Rattler looking that way, launches downfield, and it's Wells again, makes the catch in front of Turnage. That's an interesting battle that's developing.
Used a switch release at the line of scrimmage, created a little bit of confusion. They love this right side right now. They're attacking that hole between the corner and the safety. They continue to work that side, and Turnage looked like he went down. Right there, you could just tell something was not right.
He's still being attended to by the athletic training staff over in the South Carolina bench area. You know, Rattler did not take a single downfield shot all game long. They couldn't protect him against Florida. The passing game execution was just off completely. Tonight, a completely different story.
Yeah. Just I think a lot of confidence. Let's hope that the Turnage is okay. Could tell near the end of that play, something was just not right. Just kind of went limp there towards the sideline.
He's conscious. They're looking at his leg, focusing on that knee area. Turnage is a transfer from Alabama. Very solid coverage guy. I've seen him make some physical plays tonight as a tackler, breaking up passes. We've had some injuries in the secondary. When we did the Kentucky game a couple of weeks ago, they had some key guys out. Christian Charles was out of that game. Hadden was out. Sean Rucker is out tonight. We continue to look at turnage in this near sideline. We'll check in with Matt Barry.
Okay, Chris, back to you in a minute. Coming up in the Mercedes-Benz halftime report, we've talked about it all day, kind of the weirdness in college football. Both Ohio State and Michigan needed to escape late to stay perfect on the season. TCU just being TCU, a remarkable finish there. Plus the Battle of LA scoreless right now between USC and UCLA. Also, Georgia Tech moving the ball with the lead late against North Carolina. We'll have all that and more coming up at the half.
We're talking about Carolina on a collision course with Clemson in the ACC as Turnage has finally helped to his feet. Holly, what can you see?
Well, guys, they're actually looking at his left ankle. They've taken his shoe off. He's not able to put any weight on that ankle as they go to the locker room. The athletic training staff has been using their fingers to slide up the bones of that ankle and make sure that he's okay. And as you can see, can't put any weight on that right now. They'll take him straight to the locker room before the half.
Both
Beamer came across to give his best wishes.
Yeah, both the head coaches down there. Yeah, you mentioned Rattler. I look back and I thought, you know, in 2020 he had a huge year at Oklahoma, and this year, how many games has he thrown for over 200 yards? And I went back and I looked. I had to go. If you're looking at just Power 5, I went all the way back to week 2.
Yeah.
Against Arkansas, and he had 377, and that was in a comeback. They're trying to come back. I mean, since then he's you know, 180, 160, 140. So the night that he's having right now, 231, and we're not even to halftime.
Joyner once again in quarterback position. Hands it off inside to McDowell. The time the Volunteers were ready for it. And he's hit behind the line.
Well, this time Beasley does a good job. I think they've seen enough of this play. And I think now, instead of worrying about the edges, now you get the linebackers. They're starting to understand it. He read the block of 44 Atkins, and he just used his speed to come around and blow that play up. Really nice job at the inside there by Beasley.
Final timeout spent by Shane Beamer. He was the first 2 on defense. Yeah, an incredible performance by this Gamecock offense. Talked about the creativity without their 2 best running backs, especially Marshawn Lloyd, who is a major weapon. The offense is really built around him. When he's healthy, you run the ball, you set up the play action,
right.
You take him out of the mix. And talked about Marcus Satterfield, the job he's done, and these guys have stepped up and handled multiple roles to make this thing work tonight. And boy, is it humming, this offense.
And let's not forget about, again, you're going up against Tennessee's offense. You know, so not only are you trying to put together an offense that maybe isn't necessarily what you're built for, you're trying to stay up with the potential explosive offense of Tennessee. But man, they have put together a masterful plan so far.
Rattler, long throw, end zone, caught! Josh Vann, second touchdown tonight. 5 for 5 are the Gamecocks. Now, Christian Charles came in the game for Turnage. They went right after him, Kirk.
Sure did. And they gave a run look with 2 tight ends.
So Josh Vann is an excellent punt returner as well. Actually made as many plays as a punt returner than as a receiver this year. 2 touchdowns.
Well, you got the 2 tight end look right here on the left-hand side, and because of that, you've got 9 Vol defenders in tight. He knows he has the matchup that he wants. This defense is expecting run. What I want you to see is where he puts it up in the air. Look at that throw up in the air to allow the receiver to adjust to that back shoulder throw. Really well done by Rattler again. Not just throwing it to throw it out there, and throwing it on a line, puts enough air under it to allow Vann, who's had a big night tonight, to adjust back.
And Spencer Rattler, full credit, man. Look, he was frustrated. He knew he didn't play well. The whole team didn't play well at Gainesville. But Shane Beamer sat him down and said, look, you got parts 2 and 3 of this Orange Crush schedule, right? At Florida, home Tennessee, at Clemson. You still got a chance against 2 big opponents. in big games to reshape this season, and he has seized the chance so far tonight.
Amen.
14 for 19, 249 and 4. 1995 was the last time against an SEC opponent they've gone 5 for 5 touchdowns to start a game. And Tennessee is down 18 2 minutes before the break. Well, next Saturday on the SEC Network, you're going to see the regular season finale for the Volunteers against Vanderbilt. They figure to take over the stadium. Orange fans in Nashville. Also on the ESPN app.
Give Vandy a shout out today in Nashville with a big win over the Florida Gators. That was huge for Clark Lee and what he's trying to build there with the Commodores. Congrats to him and his staff.
So they'll be going for bowl eligibility next week when they take on Tennessee.
How about that?
So Hooker with 2:04 before halftime on the slant, and Tillman makes the catch. Dial just held on and brought him down after about an 8-yard gain. Handed off inside to Small. Every possession looks like a 2-minute drill for Tennessee, but Hooker does it extremely well.
Remember, Tennessee won the toss and deferred, so they big possession here, and then they'll get the ball to start the second half.
Here goes pressure. It's picked up. Hooker delivers a high throw. Couldn't tell who he was aiming for there. Tillman was there, kind of tipped it, and then Squirrel White was behind him.
I think the ball was thrown to Squirrel White. I mean, Tillman's his go-to guy, one of his favorite targets, but Squirrel White, that ball looked like it was trying to go up and over top of Tillman. It would have hit Squirrel White right in the chest.
Tillman broke it up.
He did.
Good protection on second down. Pitch delivered to Hyatt, who's spun down. Not many yards after the catch tonight for Jalen. Cam Smith wouldn't let him go.
Really good read again. I just love to watch Hooker in this situation. Clock's down under 1:30. Got one timeout. Plays with good poise.
Small darts forward for 5.
Just no panic. This team knows how quickly they can score. They're not in a rush. Like you said, this is their comfort zone, right?
Late pressure is picked up. Throw gets out. And catch made, another first down. That's Squirrel White making the catch.
Just in rhythm, looks to left, bounces in the pocket, comes back to the right.
Gamecocks can't even get lined up here. The tempo taking its toll. The throw is behind Hyatt, who makes the grab and dives forward to the 25.
Now that time he sees 2 linebackers blitzing. Both Sherrod Green is coming and Brad Johnson. He said, okay, you're going to try to blitz me. I'll take, even though it was behind Hyatt, still the crossing route behind where those backers were blitzing. Easy throw.
Serious confusion on the Gamecock side. They brought a guy off. It looked like doing the U-turn and coming back on the field was Edmond, one of the pass rushers. So 35 seconds to go as they get in the red zone.
Keep cranking these first downs. Clock keeps stopping.
And that fastball is outside, looking for White.
Yeah, no worries at all. Incompletion stops the clock. They just went 9 plays, 60 yards, minute 38. Still have the 26 seconds and a timeout. You got a tired defense trying to get bodies on and off the field.
Trying to get air in the lungs.
Oh yeah, man.
You give them a little bit of a reprieve by stopping and looking to the sidelines here. Hooker, slant. Hyatt makes the catch, tackled short of the marker by Smith. Tennessee has 1 timeout remaining, and Heupel will take it.
Yep.
So 18 seconds. They'll be out of timeouts now. 3rd and 2. Gamecocks are able to keep them out of the end zone earlier in this quarter in a red zone trip. Again, no panic at all when this team can score as quick as they can. They're not out of this game, but down 18. This is interesting.
I'm sure Josh Heupel's message was, don't worry about what we're down. Let's get a touchdown right here. We're going to get the ball to start the second half, and it's a brand new ball game. I mean, that's how you got to believe. And if you're Tennessee, I just don't think, because there's so much evidence this year of their offense being the answer. Now, the thing is, if you're South Carolina, how often have we seen this Tennessee team challenged on the road? You know, it's one thing to do it in Neyland Stadium. Another thing to do it on the road in an environment like this.
We talked a lot about the Tennessee defense being underrated. We saw them just suffocate Kentucky a couple weeks ago at Neyland Stadium. They have not had an outing like this. I don't care if it's Bryce Young in Alabama, certainly not down in Athens. They have been baffled tonight, but what the Gamecocks have rolled out here, and Rattler is on fire.
And of everything you thought you would see tonight, maybe the whole day, did you think South Carolina 5 possessions, 5 touchdowns?
No, sir.
That's like the last thing.
So 3rd and 2, no timeouts. Clock will stop if they make a first down without scoring.
There's Hyatt in the slot.
He's got a cushion. And Hooker looked that way, didn't throw it, batted up in the air, deflected, and caught for a touchdown off the carom. So Tennessee, McCoy, after the ball was batted up into the air, says thank you very much. Green got a hand on it.
Yeah, Sherrod Green is going to see this one in his sleeve. That's potentially not just a tip ball. He looked like he might have a chance to come up with an interception. Ball thrown over top of him, and I think it looked like he may have had both hands on the ball.
Talk about a turnaround. Earlier, Rattler threw a touchdown pass that was just off the fingertips of a Tennessee defender. That time, very nearly a pick in the end zone, instead of the touchdown pass.
Here he is right here, trying to get into the throwing lane. Watch him drop, drops, he's right there. Oh my gosh. Climbs the ladder to try to at least knock it down. It's a great look at it right here. Oh boy. And then the focus to finish the play there by McCoy for the touchdown.
Big physical guy at 6'3", 220. He reacted and then just boxed out the defender. Watch him use muscle here. Make sure his body is between the defender and the football.
That's big against big. 6'3", 220 and Brew McCoy, and Rush is 6'2", 200, big corner. And that was an impressive drive by Hendon Hooker. The 11 plays and a 75 yards, and the poise again he plays with. It's fun to watch.
So the Gamecocks, despite going 5 for 5 with touchdowns, it's an 11-point lead, and they know that that's not a good sign as Cam Smith is limping off the locker room, hopefully just to get an early look. He's clutching to that left hamstring, but he is such a huge part of the defensive game plan, shadowing Jalin Hyatt all night, and he's actually limited Hyatt. He's got 6 catches, but no big plays so far. This doesn't really count as a possession. Van, who's caught a couple of touchdowns, is shoved out of bounds in 6 seconds before half. Goodyear providing the aerial coverage, road tested and game ready. Are you ready for the road? Goodyear, more driven. Life on the road in this conference is just about a challenge every time out. Tennessee did go down to Baton Rouge and hammer LSU, but they got unraveled. It was unsettled, is a couple words that Heupel used to describe what happened between the hedges. So
never really
found, for the first time since then.
Never really found their rhythm. And they'll admit, listen, that crowd impacted us. We were finally the hunted, you know, instead of the hunter, and it took a toll on us. They tipped their cap to Georgia. They're obvious, their players and their coaches, and really just in all of that atmosphere that day.
Yeah, 8 pre-snap penalties, and they gave up 8 sacks to the Bulldogs.
Yeah. In fact, their whole theme from that game was, let's go to Columbia and show how we can take care of a tough environment.
Well, the offense has put up 24 points, but the Gamecocks have rolled up 355 total offense. To Holly with Shane Beamer.
Well, Coach, you've had so much creativity on your play calling to move the football. How has it paid off for you in the first half?
It's certainly paying dividends right now. Our whole mindset coming into this game was attack. And everything that we're doing, offensive calls, special teams, what we're calling on defense. I mean, you're not going to sit back and beat this team, so we wanted to attack.
You know they can score points quickly. What will you caution your team and locker room at halftime in the second half?
We got a long way to go. I mean, their game last week against Missouri was a 4-point game in the third quarter, and they won by 40-plus points. So we got a lot of football left, but we got a good football team. Like, we expected this, Holly, and I know everybody thought, how are we going to keep it close and all that stuff, but we're a good football team that played like crap last week, and we got a long ways to go. We got to just win our one-on-ones. I mean, we're leaving our guys. We're getting one-on-one opportunities on defense with pass rush, pass coverage. We got to win.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
He's like a relentlessly positive guy, but Shane, a little salty there.
A little salty.
Up 11 at halftime. Mercedes-Benz halftime report is coming up. Matt Berry, Joseph Galloway, and Coach Dan Mullen.
Scott Galloway.
Filled out Williams-Brice, ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Subway. This presentation of the SEC on ESPN. We know the Vols can score anytime they get the ball to start this third quarter, Kirk, but the Tennessee defense against a very aggressive play calling scheme by the Gamecocks and a hot quarterback in Rattler.
I think they got to go back to what they do best, which is stemming and moving, trying to get off slip some blocks, get into the backfield, disrupt the timing of Rattler, because, man, that's the best half of football he's played since 2020.
The lead was 18. The late touchdown sliced it to 11, and we'll see if Hooker can go to work and make it a 4-point game. But a fighting spirit moment tonight.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of everything. He's displayed the anticipation, getting the ball out early, great patience, and making the right reads. And he's just been in his zone. Look at this, working through his progressions from the right all the way back to the left, which led to a touchdown there. And then the ability to just put the ball up in the air, allow his receivers that have been able to get some good separation from the Tennessee defenders, put it up in the air, let the receiver adjust to the ball.
Good news is Cam Smith, number 9 there, you see he's across from Jalen Hyatt. He limped off at the end of the half, but he is back and on the field right now. Hooker's looking to the right side, and that time he finds Jacob Warren, the tight end.
And Tennessee is going to really, you know, the one message Josh Heupel and Alex Golesh had was, hey, we're going to go fast. We're not going to do a lot of motions. Let's be the aggressor on this opening drive.
Pretty good job of being the aggressor in this offense all season long. Really with one exception. Small cuts back. He's wrestled down about 2 yards short of the marker.
And when I say that, I mean the new wrinkle they've done this year is there's more, not just 2x2 and going fast. There's pre-snap movement, motions, and when they get in this mode, they're not going to do that.
And they move the sticks on third down. You saw the graphic there. That's a total reversal. Rarely do you see Hooker struggle to connect on those downfield shots. Just one so far tonight beyond 10 yards.
Tennessee's struggled to be able to match up with these corners.
There's a downfield shot, and once again Tillman trying to fight back to the ball. Good coverage from Dial, so another empty shot downfield.
And that one, Hendon Hooker looked like he may have taken one too many hitches. He's on the inside. That's the matchup that you want. Really good tight coverage there with Dial. Again, Dial, Rush, and Smith. It's very rare to see one defense have 3 guys that you trust to be on islands against this Tennessee offensive speed, and they trust him.
Option looks small, gets the pitch from Hooker and is knocked down. We asked Shane, what's the best thing about your team? What can you count on? Shot back right away with the corners, didn't he?
Yeah, the corners. You know, brought that up in the first half. I mean, that says a lot, you know, for a team that's beat up on the offensive side with injuries. And you don't hear that when you're going up against Tennessee. Hey, we love what we can do on the perimeter.
I'll slow the tempo down here, trying to convert this 3rd and 6.
Small is out for this 3rd down.
Balls are 4 for 8 so far. Gamecocks showing some pressure, and they bring it. Hooker has time, though, and delivers in traffic, and it's broken up beautifully there. That's one of the young guys, Peyton Williams, pressed into duty because Emawori is out for targeting.
And they brought Green on this 3rd down, and you know, he's got exactly the matchup that he wants. And look at this move by Warren here. Pulls away right there. Now put the ball in front. It's rare to see Hooker miss like that with open targets this season, but he's missed a few. That was a big one on 3rd down.
Didn't expect to see this many Tennessee punts. The Gamecocks have blocked 5 punts this year. They always think they can find a weakness in a team's punt protection. That was the first time they really kind of came after it. Didn't get that close, though. Holly?
Well, guys, Tennessee coach Josh Heupel is not too overly dramatic at the half. He said, you know, we didn't play well. We know that our team can play a lot better than we did in the first half. we're a team that's committed to playing 60 minutes, so not a lot of upset and urgency, but just calm, matter-of-fact, have to improve. He said, we handled a lot in the first half. Their offense had a little bit of everything, wildcat, power, so many different things, but it was the one-on-one matchups on the outside they've got to tighten up and do better. Also, Brandon Turnage will not return with a left ankle injury.
Rattler has been throwing on first down a lot, Kirk. This is a handoff, and Bell's going to be tracked down by Byron Young, but 8 times they threw on first down in that first half, completed 6. 2 of them were touchdowns.
Absolutely. It kind of represents what Shane Beamer said to Holly walking off the field. Hey, we're going to be aggressive. We came here to win. We're going to be aggressive, and that's exactly how they were in that first half, and it's an illustration of what you're talking about with their first down play action passes, and it's smart. You don't have a great running game, you got to throw those wrinkles, and that's what they've done the entire game.
They are behind the 6, though, after that loss. 2nd and 14. Rattler surveys, flips it underneath. Catch made by Stockner. Of course, we're teammates in Norman. Demarion McDonald stopped them. It's 3rd and long now.
Back-to-back plays. If you're a Tennessee fan, you like to see the team speed there. The previous play that tried to bounce it to the outside, and not only Young being able to get off of his block, he saw safety coming down, being super aggressive. That time they get it to Stockner. Stockner, for whatever reason, not the most fleetest foot tight end. Instead of getting north and south, tried to go wide, and big tight end can't get wide against the speed of this Tennessee defense.
Drew McCoy being looked at him there. Looks like he's having midsection wrapped on the medical team. Rattler pressured against a 4-man rush, takes off, and is not going to make it. Tackled by McDonald at the 29, and it's 4th down. Here comes the first punt of the night.
Yeah. How about McDonald here? Watch his head on his swivel, but at the same time, on 3rd down with an athletic quarterback, he looks to the right, sees the trips, he's aware of a crosser, but doesn't come. So good job of being aware of the threat of Rattler taking off and trying to get to the sticks. Good speed there in the open field.
Now, you don't think Shane Beamer would fake this, right? Kai Kroger has completed 3 passes this year. For his career, he's 5 for 5 as a passer with 2 touchdowns. The way his defense is playing, the lefty just sends it away and drives Williams back, and he goes forward for a short return to the 25. So 2 stops for the defenses to start the 3rd quarter. 55 yards on that boot. Good sense of what it's been a party so far in Columbia. Tomorrow is Sunday NFL Countdown. Matt Hasselbeck going all access with Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid. And this Monday, Azteca, Estadio Azteca in Mexico City, as McCaffrey and the Niners take on the Arizona Cardinals. 8 o'clock on ESPN, Deportes, and the app. It's a big stadium down there.
Oh, I'm sure you've been there, right?
Yep. No. Not for an NFL game.
No.
So here we go. 2nd possession for the Vols in the 3rd quarter. They fake it to right. Hooker pitches, and it's dropped. Just in and out of the hands of Jalin Hyatt. It was Cam Smith in cover. It's been a frustrating evening for Jalin. We haven't seen him knifing deep, making big plays yet.
No, and I think it has everything to do with how Cam Smith is playing him. He's giving him and Hooker that underneath throw, almost willing to give it because of that cushion. Doesn't want to give up that vertical shot.
Pressure picked up, and that shot across the middle. Accurate throw and a catch by Ramel Keaton. 1st down.
So anytime they can get that boundary safety and corner, they're going to attack that way. Anytime they got after DQ Smith, the true freshman.
1 first down, crank the tempo. Hooker right back to work, launching downfield, and it's over the head of Keaton that time. One-on-one coverage from Darius Rush. Holly?
You guys are talking about the job Cam Smith is doing at corner. He said before this game that his goal was to eliminate the yak, the yards after catch from Jalin Hyatt, and he's doing that tonight. He's tackling hard, bringing him down, and the yak has been minimal.
Big time, and you can see some frustration slipping into Hyatt. Is a very excitable, kind of emotional player, and he came back to his home state hoping to make huge plays, and there's still time. Keaton makes that catch. Rush got just enough of him to bring him down after the catch. First down at the 41.
But you got a tight end and a running back in to help out in pass protection, and South Carolina has a blitz on, bringing everybody, unable to get home and get the pressure. Good protection.
Hooker launches again. Deep route. Tillman goes up. Could not make the play. Ball was fading away late. It was Dial in coverage.
Just not as accurate as we normally have seen Hooker downfield. Not a lot of room there. When you align yourself a yard or two from the sideline, typically when you're not in this style of offense, you're going to line up maybe near the top of the number, and you're going to give yourself a nice big lane on that outside where the quarterback can lay it over your outside shoulder. Here, you just don't have any room to work, so it's got to be a perfectly thrown ball down that sideline.
But you're right, it has not been the typical deep ball accuracy of a guy many consider the Heisman frontrunner coming into this game. They're right down the middle. Princeton, fan touchdown, Tennessee. A bust from the Gamecocks, and the tight end makes him pay.
Jalin Hyatt, even when he doesn't make the play, watch what happens when he goes into motion and what this does to the defense. Watch on the back end right here. He's yelling, help, help, I need help over here. And with all that confusion, you end up losing a receiver, in this case a tight end, right down the middle of the field with Fan. So the motion, the pre-snap motion there, affecting the South Carolina communication, and a nice job there. Great coaching, easy throw for Hooker.
Good spot. That was total panic back there, and just like that, the Volunteers have sliced what was an 18-point lead down to 4. Well, we want to mark the passage and celebrate the career of two directors, Ralph Mollet and Jay Mullen, who were so instrumental in building ESPN production from the early years. Both men were talented, multiple Emmy Award-winning directors covering college football, the NHL, tennis, track, and more. We honor the careers and the lives of Ralph Mollet and Jay Mullen. Four-point game all of a sudden. Tennessee, minute 5, Kurt. All 6 of the plays in the drive were completed passes. That was the first big pass play they had on that Fant's 41-yarder.
Minute 5, first touchdown of the night. Minute 3. And that's what Tennessee fans are used to seeing this year.
Now Shane Beamer knew it. And there's the short kickoff, which is going to bounce out of bounds. They'll begin from the 35. You had your pick of All-State mayhem moments. Here's Curtis Wilson with the bus here. A lot going on today.
I didn't know where to go, but we ended up going to TCU and Baylor. Look at this. They're out of timeouts. 8, 7. The kicker's late. 5, 4. Griffin Kell, 11-12, makes it as time expires. And number 4, TCU survives Waco in a scare by Baylor.
You've seen that hundreds of times, right? Those practices Thursday, Friday.
Oh, yeah.
The last thing they do after everything
run out
is practice the fire drill field goal.
Yep.
That was perfect execution to keep a perfect season alive, though.
What poise there. I mean, they were on the ropes the entire game. Look at that.
Iowa State, final regular season game. Gamecocks here, a little urgency now. There's a first down throw to Bell, and he's going to slam forward for a nice gain. He knocked out Nico Slaughter on the way to about a 9-yard gain.
This day just feels like a survive and advance kind of day for, just seems like every team that was a higher ranked team playing a lower ranked, or in some cases unranked teams, especially when they're on the road. And we're seeing another example of that tonight with Tennessee.
In the Rose Bowl, UCLA is beating a top 10 ranked USC team, although there's a lot of football to be played there.
Austin Jones just went into the end zone, so 21-17.
Bell in the backfield on 2nd and 1. And he slams forward, spins near midfield for a first down.
Haven't seen a lot of this. You know, we've been seeing the razzle dazzle. We've been seeing the receiver Joyner lined up in a wildcat, but this is what they want to be. If they had Marshawn Lloyd and Christian Beal-Smith, this is the plan that they would want to build around. Let's try to win the line of scrimmage, and see a lineman goes down there. Try to win the line of scrimmage and set up play action. Eric Douglas went down.
He got up, got to the huddle, and looks like he's grabbing his.
Like he got rolled up
iPad.
on.
Well, you don't want to change what got you this big lead if you're South Carolina. Marcus Satterfield, Shane Beamer, which was aggression. It was keeping Tennessee off balance. It was challenging those corners. You're up 18. The temptation is to be startled by that and then throttle back. But
I think you and I said, right, it was 35-17. Tennessee got the ball. They're probably going to try to score here, get the ball back to start second half, get it to 35-31. That ends up happening maybe a possession later. But you're so right about South Carolina can't, and I don't think Shane Beamer's going to let them. They can't say, okay, we have a lead. Now we go into hold on to the lead mode. They have got to continue to be the aggressor. I keep going back to the point he made to Holly. We came in here to be aggressive, to fight, to win. Now you got to back it up and continue to put your foot on the gas and try to make big plays in this offense.
And the way Rattler has thrown the ball, the pitch and catch execution has been the best all season. You want to keep him going.
Absolutely. That's what's been interesting here. This possession, a couple back-to-back interior runs. We haven't seen a lot of that with the big tight end Bell. Because of the injuries to running back, they've had to move Jaheim Bell into the backfield. He's a 235-pound running back.
It's a concern as the very experienced, excellent center Eric Douglas is able to get up, and he's going to walk slowly to the sidelines.
He's the leader up there. 6-year guy, played a lot of football.
Used 6 different offensive line combinations this season. But guys like Douglas and Javon Gwynn, Jalen Nichols, Trey Jones, they played pretty consistent football. Rattler, there's a first down throw, easy catch. Juice Wells had a big cushion, slammed down hard by Haddon. It's a first down.
Yeah, nice big cushion, easy throw there for Rattler. Rattler reminds me of a guy that when everything is expected of him, it's a different mindset for him. And this year, I think he struggled early in the year where everybody wanted him to be the savior, and he threw a ton of picks early, trying to force to live up to that hype. And at this point in the season, it's almost like, yeah, Rattler, I don't know about him. And now he comes into this game against Tennessee off of a horrible performance last week against Florida. And it's like, oh, they have no chance. And now he's out to say, oh, really? It's like he's in a better mindset as an underdog than when he's expected to play well.
That's a good point. There's a nice throw there. That's Nate Atkins, the tight end. He's in a rhythm here now. First down inside the 30.
Just got lost that time. I don't think they expected a 252-pounder to work out into the flat. He's lined up right here. He just kind of works outside. You see the receiver Wells to the inside. Works that way. The corner gets his eyes caught. Doesn't really. That wasn't on the scouting report. 252 pounds sliding out there. He's usually just a blocker.
You say just a blocker. Blocking's important stuff, Kurt.
Oh, no, I know, but when you're a corner, you're not even looking at the big man.
No, they use Stogner and Bell and Kenyon as pass receivers. Was his knee down?
Yep.
Joyner went down, made the catch at the 25.
Long throw. Left hash all the way almost to the sideline. But again, Tennessee deciding just to sit back. Kind of playing that quarters coverage where the corners and the safeties are dropping back. When Tennessee's playing like this, they're basically saying, all right, let's give them a chance. They're going to make plays in front of us, and then let's see what happens in the red zone. Let's see if we can lock them down in the red zone.
Joyner back at quarterback. Fakes the handoff, and they were ready for him that time. Coming up to Phil was Aaron Beasley, delivered a shot. It's third down and long.
Boy, that was beautiful job of getting underneath the block this time by Lee. Watch him come here. You'll see the block coming around. Watch him anticipate this pull and then get underneath it. Bang! What a great play. Beasley's made a few plays. That time he hits Joyner, and Joyner is down.
Jeremy Banks not in the game, out with unspecified reasons. They say it's not an injury, so Beasley steps in and starts for him. And now Joyner, looks like they're examining that left foot and ankle area. This offense at this point, without Lloyd, needs him healthy. You've seen what a role he's played tonight. Threw a big pass back to Rattler, which set up a touchdown. 11 different Gamecocks have caught passes from Rattler tonight, really spreading it around. Hooker comes to North Carolina. He was the number 22 dual threat quarterback the year that Rattler out of Arizona was given that #1 ranking.
Virginia Tech and Oklahoma.
Only lost 2 games as a starter in Norman, did Rattler. But Hooker has had a magical season so far.
I think how he handled last year, breaking camp, not starting. Joe Milton ends up winning the job. Milton goes down with an injury. He steps in. But during that process, he never really became selfish, never really got frustrated. He was one of the great leaders, and I think that really set the stage for him, that when he got his opportunity, he was able to capitalize and hadn't looked back since last year.
So 3rd and 6, Joyner, of course, out of the game. They look back, near side catch made, and that is Wells muscling for a first down in the red zone.
Again, sinking in coverage, hating that time, just dropping back, and watch him right here. 3rd down, he's tight, and then he bails, and it's with that quick release by Rattler. Very easy for him on the near side to just make that throw. He trusts his receiver, Wells, not just to make the catch. He needed a couple yards after that catch and easily gets it.
Been really efficient in the red zone so far tonight. Another important sequence as they try to stretch the lead here. Stop Tennessee's momentum. Bell busting loose, big fella, dragging tacklers. And they push the pile down near the 3-yard line. That's what you expect from Jaheim Bell as a runner.
Boy, that is a great look at the right side. Be able to shut down that defensive line. It opens it up for the Polars. I mean, that is perfect execution to get Bell running downhill at 235 pounds. The right side collapses Tennessee, their defensive line, and made it very easy for the tight end and left guard to pull around.
You say he's pretty natural as a runner. Again, he played mostly a linebacker in high school.
Oh, he looks good.
Tight
really good.
Yeah. 3 tight ends in the game, if you count Bell. 1st and goal. Play clock at 2. Got to hurry. They just get the play off. And this is Wells on the end around. Dances in. Touchdown. Gamecocks stretch the lead.
Great job here. You mentioned the play clock's going down. They're just trying to seal this the best that they can. Good job right here. Nice block there by 44 Atkins. Stockner up to the top there as well. I tell you, man, Wells, bigger guy than you think as a receiver. 6'1", about 210 pounds.
You like tight ends on the edge blocking, right? Over the years, I know you enjoy the big
those aren't easy blocks.
Perimeter.
Yeah, those aren't easy blocks to sit that edge.
Stockner and Atkins spring him. Gamecocks go 65 in 9 plays. The lead is 11 midway 3rd quarter. A big Thanksgiving weekend of college football. Of course, the day after Thanksgiving on Friday in primetime on ESPN. Gators and the Seminoles, an ancient rivalry. We're going to be out on the West Coast in the Coliseum. Notre Dame will bring a lot of momentum into their collision with the men of Troy. Notre Dame clobbering BC. Trojans battling the Bruins right now in the Rose Bowl, back and forth. We'll keep you posted there. Look forward to getting out to LA. 42 points, by the way, the most the Gamecocks have ever scored against a top 5 opponent in the program's history.
Jeez.
6 touchdowns and 1 punt. It's incredible.
Place is going wild right now.
This crowd, we mentioned, they had hope. Some had belief. It's been pretty euphoric evening in Columbia. It's been a long time since they've had this feeling. To Matt Barry.
All right, Chris, a couple of updates for you. Start with the battle in LA, the destination of your game next week, except it'll be at the Coliseum. Right now, USC trailing 21-17. There, Austin Jones making it closer than Noah Cain for LSU. Taking on UAB 14-10. Tigers, that one started the second.
Matt, thank you. Hooker heated up and last possession. Finally made some downfield plays. Been sorely missing in the first half. Off the play action. Slant again. That was thrown behind Hyatt. It's been a frustrating night for the Hooker to Hyatt combination, in large part because of the coverage of that guy right there, Cam Smith.
Yeah, that's been a great matchup. We've talked about it a lot tonight. Cam Smith is, again, he's given that cushion up. He got a little frustrated because when that ball came out of the hands, it was a chance for a pick.
Small, met, able to power forward for a couple of yards. It's going to be 3rd and long.
Big collision there with that safety coming down, the freshman, Peyton Williams.
Hooker, incomplete. That flag finally comes out. It was Cam Smith covering Hyatt. It wasn't a flag right away. Hyatt couldn't believe it.
Hyatt wasn't even looking for the football. He never really looked for the ball, but he definitely got hit.
Pass interference on the defense. Number 9. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Jalen Hyatt is running kind of a skinny post. Watch his eyes. He looks initially, then he makes another move. The ball's in the air.
Bill Lamagna, what do you think about the PI call there?
Well, he doesn't have to be looking for the ball. He got taken off his route, and it was early contact. Good call for DPI.
Yeah, just talking more of the relationship there with Hooker and Hyatt.
There's a first down run by Wright. Slips out of a tackle, just kind of steps through the clutches of Williams. Picks up about 6, 7.
They go back to their bread and butter, trying to win at that line of scrimmage, trusting that offensive line in this running game.
Near side, catch made by Squirrel White, met immediately by Smith, and another flag comes out where the tackle was made. Smith can't believe it.
Personal foul, face mask, grasping a helmet opening. 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. First down.
The second penalty in the sequence of plays by Smith.
Got the back of the helmet. What do you have for us, Bill?
Yeah, he got underneath the back of the helmet and pulled upward. There was a jerk on it. So by rule, that's a foul. It's just like grabbing the face mask.
Good coaching there, Bill. We appreciate that. I think a lot of people are, including me, wondering, you can grab the underneath the helmet and it's like the back of it.
If you go underneath the openings, it's a foul.
Lamagna makes an unpopular opinion here. They're booing.
They're throwing things.
They're throwing bottles on the field. That's the student section, which is unfortunate. They've been awesome with their support tonight, but they have to stop and clean up the bottles. The penalty has moved the ball quickly to the South Carolina 38.
Wish we could convey Bill's message to them so they'd understand the call.
Do you think it would
really help?
Well?
It would really help, yeah.
What's a rule?
They don't want to hear about that.
Bill, at what point, if that keeps happening, do you throw a flag on that? 15 yards?
You're going to give them an opportunity for game management to handle the situation, and then if it continued was out of control, then you could do something about that.
I don't think Shane knows the rule there based on that response.
He may feel that it wasn't enough of a grab for long enough. He's a little biased. Bottom line is that Tennessee's got a march going here. It's been helped by a couple of penalties. And they haven't spent much time. Hooker batted down the line, almost intercepted. It was dangerously knocked up into the air by Green for the second time tonight, and Green is down clutching his shin after making that play.
Hey, he's had a big night for this defense. Talked about how you have to be physical against their run game, involved in the defense, trying to get his hands up. Almost came up with a pick in the goal, near the goal line, and this time times his leap up perfectly and then gets undercut when he comes back down.
Kind of tripped over a teammate. I think it was Tyreek Johnson who was on the ground right there. Yeah. But Johnson, that middle linebacker, that fifth-year senior, second leading tackler in the defense. Remember, the leading tackler on this defense, Nick Emanori, the true freshman, was disqualified for targeting in the first half. It's a group trying to dig deep here and protect this lead. They need number 44 on the field.
Yeah, Cam Smith involved in some pretty animated conversations down there. I think he's had a couple penalties caught on him, and he wants to talk to the officials about it. It's been an emotional game for this secondary, very passionate.
It's a good job with the staff to keep him away. You don't need him jawing at the officials. You need his mind on the job here.
Yeah.
And he's done a great job so far. You know, Jalin Hyatt, yeah, he's got 6 catches, but targeted 11 times. And you say going in the way he's played this year, we'll give him 65 receiving yards and no touchdowns deep into the third quarter. Any defense would take that.
Yeah, and the plan is to put Smith on him and give him that cushion just to try to take it. So many games you've watched this year, 11s getting behind safeties and against busted coverage. And tonight they matched him up man-to-man. So
hey, Kirk, another true freshman's in the game. Subbing in for Green is Stone Blanton. Yet another true freshman pressing the duty. Hooker was looking to dump it off on a screen, and he does. And Small is going to be tracked down right there and didn't collect the football. Juggled it and dropped it. 3rd and 10 now.
You brought up Blanton, and that's who blitzed, and that's who forced Hooker out of the pocket. So he comes in for Green, who's been so involved in this defense, right in the middle of it. And now it's just big 3rd down.
Here comes pressure. Ball gets out quickly on the slant. And it's Tillman. He's short of the marker. Flag comes in at the tackle by Dial. And Tillman stays down. We'll check the marker, but as it stands now, it's 4th and 2.
It's one of those.
Pass interference on the offense, number 87. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, 3rd down.
They got big Jacob Orr in the tight end for, I guess, setting a pick out there.
And he's blocking downfield, as you say. I mean, he's trying to make it look like he's running a route. You know, as a receiver, you get out there on the edge. You're just trying to give the official the look like you're not being so obvious. Bill, what do you think of that acting job there?
Yeah, he actually did a kind of a stop and stutter step, leaning the shoulder towards him.
Yeah,
that's a good call again. You know, I'd tell you if it wasn't.
Oh yeah,
it's an enormous call though. 15-yard penalty moves the ball back into Tennessee territory. 3rd and 25.
They got to get to the 28.
On their feet, everybody. They just snapped it. Hooker sidesteps pressure. Flag comes in, incomplete. Off the hands of Tillman. That was in the holding zone.
Yeah, Spraggins, the right guard, got beat.
Holding on the offense, number 76. Our penalty is declined. 4th down.
The penalty's a big part of that. The 2 penalties on Smith got Tennessee set up in business. Then the offensive pass interference really spoiled the drive.
You're right. Tonka Hemingway, 91, right here, has had a big night. Even when he doesn't get to the quarterback, he's had now 2 or maybe 3 holding calls on Spraggins because of how quick he's gotten into that backfield, and only thing Spraggins could do is pull him back.
Punt is short. Not the best effort from Paxton Brooks. It goes out of bounds. See where they spot it. Gamecocks are pointing up around the 35-yard line. Now a quick word from Vrbo.
It's Tim Tebow in a Vrbo, where the host doesn't stay with you. So there's no one to interrupt your pregame routine.
A big stop, Kirk. Up 11. Gamecocks get the football back. They'll spot it at the 25 after that punt.
Let's see what Marcus Satterfield does here. Been aggressive all night. He's produced a lot of touchdowns. You're up by 11 late in the third. I think you got to continue to be aggressive, right? Keep going with what's been working. Just like this.
Rattler wanted to throw downfield. Now he's going to try to create on the run and throws a dart for a first down. Wells to the 38 in front of Slaughter.
Well, good job of just keeping this play alive to get to the outside. And I just love to watch the way Rattler's throwing the football right now. This is why so many people fall in love with his physical abilities. He's looking right here. I mean, look how tight this coverage is. And instead of just throwing that away, with this kind of accuracy and the way he's feeling tonight, why not just put it out there?
Wells again. Can't get to the edge. Volunteers strung it out, and they knock him down behind the line. That's Jalen McCullough.
Yeah, a lot of quarterbacks obviously want to try to put it out there, but not a lot of guys can do it as consistent as he has been able to do it tonight. There's Slaughter right there. But getting to this second half, seeing a lot of guys slow. The first guy there to him is Shane Beamer. A lot of guys slow to get up here.
On the frenetic tempo, he's physical. Holly can update from the field.
Guys, I will check on this injury in just a moment, but just to update you on South Carolina's injury, their starting center, Eric Douglas, is back in on this drive with a new wrap on his right leg and knee. Also, good information, DeKarian Joyner able to return to this game. They've wrapped up both of his ankles. He's been such a critical part for South Carolina tonight. He can return as well.
It is good news. You could tell the ankle was injured when Joyner was tackled there, and Big Douglas, you know, he's probably feeling some pain, but gritting it.
Yeah.
Back in there.
Yeah, Slaughter now getting helped off. But just to finish my point on Spencer Rattler, you know, this isn't how he always looks. You know, this is one of these nights that has been special with his accuracy. And here's a look again at the big hit there by Joyner. We have not seen him back since that. And Beasley has been pretty active tonight for Tennessee. Now he's back out there with the coaches talking, and big part of what they're doing. But again, to finish my thought on Rattler, a lot of guys are, you know, they'd like to make these kind of throws, but this guy this year has not been making these throws consistently. It's like he saved them all for tonight against his Tennessee defense.
He's in a rhythm now. Kirky's made his last 9 count. Final 2 minutes of the quarter. Empty backfield. Volunteers rush only 4. Rattler has plenty of time. Steps up and delivers over the middle. Wells again. Juice Wells beginning to be the featured man in this attack. Tackled at the 35.
You got 2 receivers underneath right here. You clear here, and then you're able to come across at that second level. Really well designed. The thing is, you need time. Look at the amount of time he has, and then finally there's the opening, and a good job again by Antoine Wells going down to make that catch. Look at this, all hands.
100-yard receiving night, 9 for 116 for Juice. Rattler straight back again. That time they bring the heat and they knock him down. That is the first sack for this Volunteers defense, and it was Aaron Beasley getting home.
I think Beasley was on a delayed blitz there. He saw that Bell was in to help out with pass protection. See, Bell's kind of looking. He goes to the outside, and Beasley feels that. Comes on that delayed blitz. He came in. Once you come to the interior, into the face of the quarterback, very tough for him to react. There's nothing Rattler could do there.
Pass pro has been an issue at times with this Gamecock offensive line. It was the first time and let the Volunteers knock Rattler down. So 2nd and 20. Pressured again. Escapes and just throws it away. Pass rush beginning to impose itself finally now.
Yeah, they're finally starting to get a good push. That was Bumpus on a twist.
Byron Young, too, was in there.
Yeah, Byron Young's able to try to keep contained to the outside, but big Bumpus, 300-pounder twist game affects the communication with Eric Douglas, the center. He got caught up. Forced Rattler out of the pocket.
So 3rd and 20. Gamecocks really efficient on 3rd down tonight. It's not been the case all year, but they're 5 for 8. It's a big ask here. Rattler steps up, delivers across the middle. It's Wells, and dancing around him. They'll convert on 3rd and 20. No problem. Down to the red zone.
Exact same play that they ran a little bit earlier. Underneath, right like this, you go deep, and then you have the crosser, and nobody picks this up. This is 3rd and forever. Time, there he is again. Nobody's able to pick him up. Nice throwing lane. Beasley, the other linebackers not sinking because of the underneath routes.
Rattler thrown for 353. 1 quarter to go. South Carolina trying to spring a big upset, up by 11. You're watching ESPN College Football Primetime from Columbia. This party's just building in Columbia. Welcome back to this presentation of the SEC on ESPN. Set for the final quarter. Tennessee's playoff hopes on the line here. Down 11 with 15 minutes to play. Gamecocks threatening to stretch the lead here. First down from the 20. Hand it off to Bell. Bell dragging people, refusing to be brought down. It's a 1st and goal.
That's a great run. Let's go back. Remember we talked about big plays on this drive looking identical? It's because they were. Look at this. This is just the last 5 plays. This big 3rd down. Look at the quarterback, by the way. Steps up, steps to the left, makes the throw. There it is. You have 2 crossing routes on those mesh routes, a vertical shot to stretch the zone, and then you get that 18 to 20-yard crossing route. And Rattler throws them both for big plays to Wells.
Joyner back in the game at quarterback here in this 1st and goal situation. That's Rattler who came in motion. Quarterback was set up far to the right, and they had a false start after the attempted trickery. 5 for 5 touchdowns in the red zone tonight.
Number 71 on the offense, 5-yard penalty. Still 1st down.
All coaches understand the importance of situational football. Gamecocks have not been very strong on 3rd down to the red zone this year, but Shane knew they needed to break some tendencies, and they have been outstanding in both areas in this game.
Yeah, and the 2 things that they've done is get Joyner back there in that wildcat where he's a threat to run or throw, and then also they've gotten the big man Bell running downhill with some great blocking up front. Not to mention, of course, what Rattler can do, and they got him back there now.
Rattler flips it short. Catch made. Bell still running. Finally tackled at the 5. He is a load, especially with the defense that's out there in the 4th quarter. Tough to tackle this man.
This guy is impressive. I mean, he is a tight end that's lining up in the backfield. Guy that played some running back, some linebacker in high school. With the injuries to the backfield coming into this week, they asked him to be that guy. Look at this. Looks like he's been doing it his whole life in South Carolina. Very comfortable coming out of the backfield, and you'd see tough to bring down, not just with his power, but some speed out there.
Just shoved Charles to the ground there. Good luck.
Doing his best Derrick Henry impersonation.
Corner out there trying to make a play on the big man. 2nd and goal. Ball all the way back to the 5-yard line now. McDowell on the pitch. He's got to make a few volunteers miss, and he cannot get past Beasley, who drops him for a loss.
But Beasley making a lot of plays for this defense against the run game. Watch him out here in the open field. Love how he eliminates the space, closes the ground, and look at that little stutter. Just a stutter of his feet, not where he stops, but he keeps moving those feet, chopping his feet, being able to adjust in whatever direction he goes. That's great drill work paying off right there for Aaron Beasley.
Now does Rattler take a shot at the end zone here? A field goal makes it 14. Mitch Jeter is very reliable. Does he kind of push the envelope, trying to make a play in the end zone? Well, there's a high percentage throw, a slant. Crowd wanted a flag on Haddon against Wells. There is a flag, but it's not down where the coverage was.
We have hands in the face by Tennessee.
Personal foul, hands to the face on the defense, number 9. Penalty is half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
That's a very costly penalty for Heupel's team. It'll set up a 1st and goal. They got Tyler Barron that time. Here's the coverage.
Yeah, and in the pit is where the hands in the face were. This isn't the hands in the face. This is a no call, but
it's Joyner at quarterback here on this 1st and goal. He can throw it. He's been featured mostly as a runner tonight. Here he hands off to Bell, who was smothered for very little. South Carolina, besides trying to stretch the lead, is chewing out some clock.
Go back to that hands to the face real quick, Chris, just because you got to see this for the right there with the left hand. So pretty easy call for the officials to make.
11th play of the drive coming up. They've been able to take thus far 5.5 minutes off the clock on this drive. Don't discount the importance of that.
So big.
Rattler, end zone, incomplete. He fired a high pass to Van, and now a flag comes out on Haddon.
Pass interference on the defense, number 5. Foul occurred in the end zone. The ball will be placed at the 2-yard line. First down.
Penalties beginning to pile up, and this will set up the Gamecocks at the 2.
Haddon has been very physical. He's saying that he didn't touch him there, but Bill, he looked like he got him on the shoulder.
I see the left hand come up almost under the chin there and pulled him back. So again, another excellent call. Angles were important for which official called it.
Rattler rolls, scans, now cuts back, makes another cut, flips a touchdown. Bell worked free. Rattler found him, and they can really spell an upset now. In your wildest dreams, Gamecock fans, you never thought you'd see your offense play like this tonight.
Especially with Bell and his role tonight. Joyner going back to the bowl game that they played in last year. I mean, they put everything into this game plan. And the most important aspect is Spencer Rattler, 25 of 31. That capped off an 11-play, 75-yard drive, and how fitting for this. No lineman, by the way, downfield. He would not give up on this play until he came up with a touchdown.
What a night for the QB. They were embarrassed in Gainesville. They are roaring tonight in Columbia. Go ahead, count them out, Spencer Rattler. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 for the thumb. 5 touchdown passes. He had 8 through 10 games coming in tonight. Almost caught a touchdown pass. He caught a pass, tackled the 5 that set up a touchdown.
1 200-yard passing game against Power 5 on the year. He's been a major disappointment in his transfer from Oklahoma. Pressed, threw interceptions, got very cautious after that, and has put it all together tonight on this stage.
He sure has. Against one of the hottest quarterbacks in the country. Hendon Hooker was the guy that hadn't thrown interceptions. He threw a bunch of touchdown passes. Chick-fil-A playoff rankings here, very nearly a monumental day, but Michigan and TCU escaped.
And if you look at this, we'll see what happens. If Tennessee were to lose, the big winners would be LSU, because all this debate about what if LSU were to win out, beat Georgia, they still would be behind Tennessee, so LSU would be a winner. And USC, see what happens against UCLA, but if they win tonight against UCLA, they have Notre Dame next week and a Pac-12 championship. Now, they got to win tonight, but if they do, they might be in a good spot.
This could help Clemson as well. Hooker, ooh, is he okay? He went to the turf. It's not a fumble. He was ruled down there, but now all eyes on Hooker, who went down very awkwardly and is in obvious pain. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, just trying to fake a pitch, and as you said, his feet got caught awkwardly and he just went down. You know, that's a big part of his game. This is not something where it's out of the ordinary of who they are offensively.
Yeah, this is not a fumble. They're just going to keep the ball, but
hush went over this crowd here in Columbia when 5 went down.
It'll be a shame. We'll step away as they attend to Hendon Hooker.
ESPN College Football Primetime is presented by Subway. Try the all-new Subway Series menu. Your pick of 12 irresistible subs.
2 problems for Tennessee. Number 1, Hendon Hooker limped off after they examined his knee. The other problem is that while he was being tackled, in an apparent reaction to that pain, Hooker dropped the football and appeared to fumble it before he hit the ground. Now, initially was ruled no fumble, but the Gamecocks immediately recovered. You saw Birch running it in. They've reviewed it in that timeout.
After further review, the runner fumbled prior to his knee being down. The ball was picked up by South Carolina at the 17-yard line. It will be first down at the 17 for South Carolina.
Now, Birch would have loved to have the touchdown. That's taken away because of the way it was reviewed. But here's another look.
Watch the knees, see if he's down. He's still up. He's still up. He's still up. And then the ball is out.
His shin would mark him down, but his shin did not hit before the ball came out. Birch scooped it up. It would have been a scoop and score to just about put away this game. Hooker's being looked at in the 10 because there was a whistle and it was ruled a no fumble. They place the ball at the 17 here.
Yep.
On the edge, Joyner barges down for a 9-yard gain. Holly.
Hendon Hooker was able to walk off the field. He was putting weight on that left leg as he very carefully walked into the injury tent. His head was down. Teammates were hugging him. I'll give you more as soon as I know it, but he was able to put weight on that left leg.
No, thank you, Holly. We certainly hope he's okay. Tennessee, meanwhile, in danger of going down 25 with about 11 minutes to play in this game. If they can't keep the Gamecocks out of the end zone here. A field goal makes it a 3-score game. Bell just breaks the will of a defense, doesn't he? Barrels down to the 2.
He may have found a new home. I mean, with all, I know he's one of the tight ends. Stogner plays out there, Kenyon plays out there, Atkins, Bell, and he's had to move to running back. And that offensive line late in this game starting to wear down Tennessee, and having a big back, being able to run like that, bounce off of tackles, great compliment to what Rattler in this passing game's been able to do.
Bama put 49 on this defense in Knoxville. Gamecocks fixing to get over half 100 in here. 1st and goal. Leggett on the end around. They were ready for him, and Haddon drags him down for a short loss.
Really good team pursuit there. Haddon's able to set the edge. Got a lot of white jerseys. Watch 5 get to the outside. Now you got the inside pursuit right there. Really good job, Trevion Flowers as well. Tennessee trying to show some pride here. Backed up. It's a big sequence of plays here. South Carolina looking for that knockout punch, and Tennessee trying to keep their hopes alive.
Joyner back in the game to operate at quarterback. Joyner keeps it, makes a cut, touchdown, South Carolina. This is an historic night for this Gamecock offense. And they are putting a thumping on the 5th-ranked Vols.
Really comfortable in this role is Joyner. He's reading this man who collapses down. Watch him come down right there. Once he commits down, pulls it, gets a good block downfield there by Kenyon and into the end zone.
Creative
shot.
Beautifully executed in this offensive game plan.
Yeah.
56-31. We'll see if Hooker's able to rejoin this game, but the Volunteers' playoff hopes are evaporating here in Columbia. The last touchdown. Fireworks. That's it.
Come on.
They made it run out, Kirk. I don't think they expected, 8 touchdowns from this offense tonight.
Pre-game, halftime, national anthem, this many touchdowns. They've run out of ammunition.
But this offense is not. That was the short field after the fumble. Could have been a scoop and score if not for the call on the field. Didn't matter. They just powered in. 25-point lead. Jimmy Holiday trying to make a play. And he's going to be brought down across the 25 to Matt Berry.
All right, guys, a statement Saturday in the Pac-12. Very much a game-time decision still for Bo Nix against Utah. We're going to kick that game on ESPN News before we move it here to ESPN. Here's what's going on around the networks. ABC, Oklahoma still up 28-10. LSU having a good start to their night. And Ole Miss, Arkansas. Arkansas all over the Rebels, 42-12.
All right, Matt, thank you. That's unfortunate scene. Hendon Hooker out of the medical tent there, limping heavily. So Joe Milton, the former Michigan Wolverine, is in a quarterback. And he slings it across the middle, and the catch is made by Squirrel White, wrestled down. Milton, of course, was the day 1 starter last year, 2021. Then he injured an ankle ligament, and Hooker took over.
Yeah,
has had the job since then. Big arm this guy has.
Big strong arm. Yep.
Catch is made out to 50 by Tillman.
Can you imagine? This is one of those scores that you're out, you're at another game, you got back from a game, you're hearing about it on social media. 56-30. What? Tennessee's up, right? No. South Carolina is up on Tennessee.
If you see it on your app, you go, "No, this is a glitch. Reset this thing. Turn the phone on. Turn it back."
I mean, it's been a wild day, but they're not losing. Well, there's Hendon Hooker. Very noticeable limp there. Everybody in college football, not just Tennessee fans, hoping that he's okay. Boy, he's been an incredible story to watch this year.
3rd and 3 for Milton. And there's got to be a flag down there. He began to back up before the snap came in. He heaves it down to the end zone. Jump ball. And it's incomplete. There was a flag on the play. Meanwhile, Hooker is making a very long, slow walk from the bench on the far side along this end line.
On the defense, number 19. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Right in front of the Gamecock student section. He comes in here tonight, perhaps the Heisman front runner. You figure big stats in this game, big stats against Vanderbilt. Certainly to New York with a real chance to become Tennessee's first ever Heisman Trophy winner. And it's a heartbreaking end of the evening for him. Holly?
Guys, he has been ruled out, obviously, for the rest of the game. I'm told it's a left leg injury, but after watching him walk and watching them do an extensive examination on him, it does appear to be some type of a knee injury. We'll give you more as soon as we hear it.
Milton's an excellent runner, too. A powerful guy. Just gets behind the block of Cooper Mays and muscles to the 35. Just short of the first down.
Yeah, he is a handful, 245 pounds.
Small. Hammers into the secondary now near the 20.
Of course, Tennessee, this is a team with a lot of confidence, and they're not even looking at the score right now. They're just trying to score as fast as they can.
Milton to the end zone, overshot Tillman that time.
He had him here. One of the few times we've actually seen receiver down the sideline. See the defender right there goes off the field, and now you got nobody left. Good job of recognizing it, just unable to execute, put the ball on it.
Off the thigh of the cameraman out there. That was a wasted opportunity because Tillman was in touchdown position, badly overthrown.
The corner just kind of went off the field right before the snap.
Very little duty for Milton this year. Only attempted 25 passes. Played in 6 different games, but in mop-up duty.
Now, that guy that went off the field, I was talking about.
The
corner,
previous
that was
play is under further review for 12 players on the defense.
Remember, I showed you that right before I showed you he went down the sideline. That corner just kind of got off the field. He was the 12th man. You can see one of the coaches telling him to come off the field. Hurry up, get off the field, get off the field. He did. He was off the sideline before the ball was snapped.
They're going to slow down and review it, but we don't think this is going to end up in a penalty, do we?
Yeah, he's right here. And now you got 11. And that's why he was so open down that sideline. Chris, what do you think this is going to do? I mean, we just showed the top 10. Who were the big winners, you think? I know Bear, he's all over this down there. We talked about LSU now. They no longer have to, if they were to win out. I mean, by the way, beating Georgia, pretty tough ask, but if they did, it's no longer a debate between Tennessee and LSU. So LSU's a big winner. USC just took the lead on UCLA. If they are somehow able to beat UCLA, beat Notre Dame, win the Pac-12, they have a real strong chance now. Bear.
There is no foul for illegal substitution. The 12th player was off the field prior to the ball being snapped. It will be second down.
Talking about Tennessee team, though, Kirk, that had an amazing resume. You're talking about, beating Alabama,
of course,
hammering LSU and Baton Rouge, and in position as a heavy favorite in the last 2 games to not even have to play a conference championship game, to skip that step and be ready to kind of step into the 14 bracket. And this is a startling result. Still time to cut into this lead. You never know, but they got to do it very quickly here. 2nd and 10. And you got to do it with a backup quarterback. Milton took a quick look and now just powers forward inside the 15, picked up 8. 3rd down.
Yeah, and obviously South Carolina they just want to kind of put a shell to this defense, keep everything in front. They're going to give up yards, they're going to give up plays, and they just want to keep the ball inbounds. Willing to give up some yards, even some points, as long as that clock keeps moving.
Sampson tackled near the marker. It's going to be 4th down, though. They stop him short, and they're playing quickly here. 4th and 1. Got to convert this, and they don't. Flying in there was Jordan Burch. Gamecocks defense rises up and gets closer to this big upset. They hurried that play.
They did. That's kind of their MO, but there was an anticipation here by Burch. Watched him come down. They're expecting. They weren't fooled. Usually Tennessee tries to fool you. This time they have a guy for the quarterback and a guy for the back. Nothing that Tennessee could have done there. Great execution by the Gamecock defense there on short yardage. Milton even tugged at the ball because he saw Burch collapse down. But if he did, he would have been taken himself.
Jordan Burch, the guy with amazing ability. He came here with a lot of hype. He was the highest rated recruit of this program since Jadeveon Clowney. Now it's his junior year, and he shows you all that talent. So now it's just Mr. Bell trying to power forward. Look at it, pushing and shoving. The helmet comes off of Wesley Walker as he made the tackle there. You never know in college football, do you?
Nope.
21-point underdogs. Yeah, it's Chippy over there.
Haddon's been chirping. Haddon's been chirping all night. Down 25 in the 4th quarter. Probably not the best time to be getting involved in that.
He's been out with a hamstring injury, returning this week. But this is a sobering and embarrassing night, frankly, for this Volunteer defense.
Yeah. And a great night for Rattler, and Marcus Satterfield and company. And Shane Beamer is trying to build a program here, and wins like this, you can already picture his post-game interview with Holly. His kids are going to be with him. It's going to be emotional. I mean, this is a landmark win for Shane Beamer and for the Gamecocks from a recruiting standpoint. You can imagine all the recruits that are here. They got Clemson coming up next week on the road in Death Valley. He's trying to create some momentum here, and he's doing it. And a win like this justifies the vision that he has for this program. And there's Frank Beamer, of course, the legendary coach that you and I had a chance to visit with he and his entire family on the bus. They're heading down to give him a big hug.
Rattler lofts it out of bounds. Yeah, Frank alternates between going to Virginia Tech games and going to Shane's games here. Your point's a great one. I mean, this is a program that always seems to be fighting uphill in the SEC East, whether it's Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, over the years. I was here, I think as you were in 2010 when they beat #1 Alabama.
Yeah.
That was Marcus Lattimore and Alshon Jeffrey, and they got a huge win. That still stands out, but there have not been many days like that or nights like this for South Carolina in recent decades.
You know, and Steve Spurrier had them rolling, you know, years ago, but you think about the SEC East, and it wasn't what it is now. Kirby Smart wasn't in the SEC East. You know, Florida wasn't Florida back then, and this is tough sledding right now to be in the SEC East, to deal with Clemson within your state, North Carolina and Mack Brown. So, you know, this is a big win. It's not just you knock off #5 Tennessee. It's you really help yourself for what you're trying to do here.
They've had a pretty good record against top 5 opponents. Very few programs that had more top 5 wins in the last 15 years in South Carolina. Typically, this has been a highly ranked Georgia team. But this is a team that had a 4-game winning streak. They played Missouri at home. This offense you're seeing tonight, they scored 10 points and lost. That stalled the momentum. Then they beat Vanderbilt. Then their rout in Gainesville. Rattler on the run just slides down. They could not have come into this game with less momentum, which is what makes this performance tonight so impressive, so unexpected.
And you know, there are different stages that you make as a program, and learning how to win when you're expected to win is a big step and a tough step. The easiest thing to do is to show up when nobody expects you to compete. And I think the next step for Shane Beamer is to play the teams that you're even with or better and beat them, and not have the peaks and valleys emotionally the way they've shown. And I think that's the next step for the program.
You think those folks are ready to charge over the hedge?
Oh yeah,
they're leaning on it.
Absolutely.
Rattler still looking to throw. Fires downfield, jump ball, and it's catch made by Juice Wells. Still pressing the ball downfield. Wow.
Well, we saw some of that from Tennessee last week in the Missouri game late. That's just a great adjustment by Wells. That's Rattler trusting Wells to adjust and beat Charles to the ball. Charles in pretty good position. That's called high pointing the ball at 6'1", 207, and the concentration to hold on to that football before it can hit the ground.
Antoine Juice Wells, 11 catches, 177. Rattler's over 400 now. 414 passing. Night of his life. Bell on the delay. Down inside the 20. Holly?
Just before this drive, Spencer Rattler came over to me on the sideline, caught my eye and said, we got to go out there and finish this right now. This is a young man that's been doubted so much this year, doubted so much last year. And for him to have this confidence in himself, he had a meeting with Shane Beamer 2 days ago. Shane said, after that performance at Florida, I just wanted to make sure we didn't let one bad performance define the kind of team that we are. He said Spencer was dialed in. He was focused. I had a great meeting with him. I loved what he had to say, and I've seen it tonight. Spencer Rattler is absolutely believing in himself, and the guys around him are feeding off of it right now.
That's a great point. You cannot respond better than he has. He was frustrated with himself and with his teammates last week. Bell tackled, and he was not made available. We couldn't speak to Rattler. They wanted to sort of keep him away, let him cool down, let him focus on the game.
Well, he's an emotional guy. I mean, we've even seen that tonight. That's part of his competitive spirit. But you know, we talked a lot about him, talked a lot about Wells and Bell and Joyner. Want to continue to not just talk about Shane Beamer, but Marcus Satterfield, the offensive coordinator, who had his one arm tied behind his back with Lloyd and Beal Smith not playing, and he came up with a heck of a scheme. with the versatility and how different they attack tonight. Different from who they want to be, but really looked good tonight.
That play was messed up from the start. One of the few moments of flawed execution tonight for the Gamecocks.
Illegal snap, 71 on the offense. 5-yard penalty, still third down.
The student section is moving toward the field. The top is emptying down.
Yeah, I see that.
They're packed in closely. You sense an SEC field rush here.
I do, and they're going right towards them with the football. They want Clemson. That's going to be, all of a sudden, that becomes a heck of a game.
Did you think a few hours ago they'd be chanting, "We want Clemson," and you think, hey, they got a real chance to win?
If 7 shows up like this, they got a shot.
3rd and 10. Rattler just flips it. Brooks to the corner. Touchdown! South Carolina punctuates a massive upset and a career night for Spencer Rattler. Touchdown number 6. They have exhausted the fireworks supply. Done. Shot everything they had.
Well, Shane Beamer, I don't know if I've ever seen him that animated. After that touchdown, he looked over to the Tennessee sideline. I mean, fired up.
It was an embarrassment last year in Knoxville. They got in a 28-zip hole and got hammered. And they have scored a 9th touchdown tonight, 6 of them through the air.
Remember what he told Holly at halftime? We came here to be aggressive and fight, and we're going to fight to the end. Guess he wasn't lying.
21 in the 4th quarter, yeah. What a night in Willie B, as they call it here. Goodyear providing aerial coverage, celebrating the challenge of road games everywhere. Are you ready for the road? Goodyear, more driven. All smiles for Spencer Rattler. USC record 6 touchdown passes, 30 of 37. There was a couple of drops in there, if you want to be real, for 438. He played 7 SEC games coming in here, Kirk. He had scored a total of 18 touchdowns. He had half that many tonight, 9 touchdowns against Tennessee.
It's just one of those days in college football, punctuated tonight in Columbia, South Carolina.
Known. I saw this afternoon.
Yeah.
We should have known.
I tried to tell you it was going to happen. I tried to tell you.
Well, Holiday, you know, I'll be honest, most of you watching this, when it was 35-31, Rattler's lead was cut down to 4. You thought Tennessee would come back and win. Not the way he responded.
No. I mean, Rattler's been the story tonight. He's had a lot of different weapons. Most notably, Wells has had a big night. How about the way Josh Vann stepped up? You know, a little bit of everything. Juju McDowell out of the backfield, but this guy was in his zone. I mean, making throws like this. You know, at times almost looking like he was at a practice or just at a scrimmage. He was so comfortable and just with ease out there throwing the football with such accuracy. 30 of 37.
Milton pulls it down and just uses that arm strength to launch it way downfield. Squirrel White got behind the defense, and he makes the catch down at the 11-yard line.
There's the big arm.
Wow.
He threw that from his own 23-yard line to about the 15.
Those ones you watch, you can't believe what you're seeing, as that was heaved down there.
65, 68 yards in the air.
Not bad. Milton stands in there and delivers a fastball to Tillman. And Frank wiping some tears out of his eyes. I mean, look, it's tough being a dad to a coach. And Shane grew up with Frank operating at Virginia Tech, knowing everything that goes into this profession, knowing how tough it is.
It's so much easier for him to be a coach himself and go through these highs and lows, even though it's hard. But to watch your son, I mean, it's probably hard for Shane when he would watch his dad, but now you're watching your son.
Milton over the hedge in the end zone. There's a couple of flags down back in the offensive pit area. You talked about Shane Beamer after that last South Carolina touchdown, looking across the field at the Tennessee sideline and showing a lot of aggression. It'll be interesting to see the handshake between
he
and Josh Heupel after this game.
Number 58 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, second down.
Concern is that Darius Rush, on senior night, playing his last game, Williams-Brice is being looked at by the athletic training staff. This is good news as they help him up. He's a really impressive guy. We talked to him. Comes from a tiny high school, C.E. Murray High School. There were 74 in his graduating class. He's a third-generation Gamecock. This is his dream school. He's living his dream. And this is a tremendous, tremendous punctuation for all the seniors who've been through so much, as you pointed out. So many downs, a few ups, but to go out this way on senior night, incredible.
Yeah, it is incredible. And then, you know, he's a part of the trio of corners with Dio and himself and Cam Smith. Gives them hope, you know, when they get into games like this. It'll be a good matchup next week with those Clemson receivers.
Be a lot to come down from for this team.
Yeah, it will. One good thing to get you back down is a rivalry game on the road. That one gets chippy too. That one gets nasty.
Does the Palmetto Bowl. Milton just spins it, but he's fired up, getting a chance to play, and that was about 10 feet over Tillman's head. 3rd and 20. Well, we hope that Hendon Hooker's okay. I mean, he went off very slowly. They were checking at his knee. He got Vanderbilt. Then there would be a wait until a postseason game. You presume a bowl game at this point. And we hope we have not seen the last of Hendon Hooker in a Tennessee uniform. We certainly hope that injury. There's nothing that will prevent him from playing in the postseason. Wow, this Tillman going up.
A free play and a touchdown.
Yeah, went up over Dial. There was a flag, and he made a tremendous play over the corner there.
Offside on the defense for 90. That penalty is declined. Result of the play, touchdown.
So Milton, chance to finally get in the game, make some plays.
And Dial, I don't see Dial ever found that ball. You see the frustration there, and the leader of the defense, Cedric Tillman.
Wasn't expected to play tonight, and actually played a big role. 9 catches for 81 yards and a couple of touchdowns. That will not do much to dampen the party here in Columbia. Students are ready to charge over that hedge in the left end zone. And the overrated chant going up. Back to the injury we talked about with Hendon Hooker, was kind of a non-contact injury, which is an awkward play. A lot of times guys will hurt their knee without any contact. Sort of in the open field, he kind of twisted it, got the cleat kind of caught up in the turf as he made the cut, and went down, fumbled the ball. There was a whistle, so it was not a scoop and score, but you could see the hug with Milton and a very slow, painful walk to the dressing room. He's a class guy.
Class guy, magical year that he had with Tennessee this year. I mean, they have been one of these stories this year as a program, and what Josh Heupel's done in just his 2nd year in Knoxville.
Our sports injury analyst Marty Geramello joining us throughout the season. Marty, what did you see in that replay? What would the trainers and doctors be looking at for Hooker and trying to assess what happened in that play?
Yeah, we saw in the video that his left cleat got caught and his knee angled inwards, also known as a valgus stress. So just based on the video, he's vulnerable for potential ligament injury. So that's what they're going to be looking for, just really testing all the various ligaments involved and begin to do further diagnostics, including MRIs, X-rays, etc.
It's the kind of thing, if it's a strain and not a tear, that they begin to think about the rehab that takes weeks instead of months, potentially?
That's correct. Obviously the goal is to have a minor injury and just a short amount of time off. But they'll know almost immediately, because the best time to evaluate these type of injuries are within the first hour of the actual injury. But the 70%, this is an interesting fact, 70% of all major knee injuries, which include ACL, are non-contact.
We've seen that, unfortunately, so often in college football. Some of the top receivers in the sport, Jameson Williams, John Metzie, Remember Devontae Smith, these non-contact knee injuries kind of late in the season. It's
absolutely.
It's hard to watch.
Well, as a player, you can't be thinking about it. You just go out there, you play, you compete, and you understand that's part of the game. Hopefully Hooker will be okay. We'll all be thinking about him, and this place is about to go crazy. If there's anything to stay tuned for, it will be the handshake at the end of the game here between the two head coaches.
And then the field rush.
I know I'm tuned in for that. I'm up here waiting, looking forward to that.
And meanwhile, Spencer Rattler, you feel good for him. I mean, it was a tough situation in Oklahoma. It's kind of ironic that he and Caleb Williams kind of split. Each went to a different USC. Both are playing right now.
Yeah.
But Caleb Williams has gotten all the attention, all the heat. Rattler's been a disappointment.
Till tonight.
Even to himself, I think, until tonight. And he has, as Shane Beamer said, a chance to have a win like this. The all-time throwing night for a South Carolina quarterback with 6 touchdowns.
If he followed this performance up with somehow winning next week in Death Valley, just that alone, he'll be remembered for this year, and this team will be remembered for this year.
Of course, this gets them to 7 wins. They're already bowl eligible. You begin to start thinking about upgrading your bowl situation.
Boy, is the playoff ranking show gonna be interesting. Home stretch we come, 2 weeks to go. No, I mean, I don't need to be on it. I'm just excited to see what they come up with. This could be fun.
Victory formation, and a night that Gamecock fans have waited a long time for and will savor forever. Haven't seen a handshake yet. It's going to be hard to execute that now. Party is on in Columbia. Heupel and Beamer do not come together. Josh just being escorted off of this field and away from this party. Spencer Rattler says, I'm keeping that football. I'm keeping that for life.
He should. What a night. It's a night you dream about.
You dream about it, but you can never, ever have seen this coming. College football in its infinite beauty. You're embarrassed in Gainesville a week ago. You're triumphant a week later at home. Holly?
Coach, you told your team this week that you didn't want last week to define the kind of team they were. How were they so resilient tonight in getting this upset?
We got a resilient bunch. I love these kids. They work their butt off. And no matter what happens every Saturday, they come back to work every Sunday and have like a better week of practice than what they had the week before. I'm so happy for them, so happy for our seniors. I mean, I've been telling people we got a good football team, and we sure as hell showed it tonight.
You guys had so many players out injured. How did your group show that creativity on offense to carry on? Spencer Rattler, all the guys showing up.
We got a tough bunch, and I love coaching them. We told them before the game, like, this game is about competition, and there's gonna be a bunch of one-on-one battles all over the field, and we got to win our share, and they did. Spencer Rattler, unbelievable. So happy for him, and I told Kirk and Chris yesterday, the last time I was in this stadium with them was when we beat Alabama when they were #1 in the country back in 2010. So y'all got to keep coming back, but this is what this place can be, and we're just getting started here at Carolina.
Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you. Go Gamecocks.
Let's go, Coach.
Well-earned party. Our president's got nothing to do with it.
Look at that. Look at that.
You know, Shane said, Kirk, even in tough times, you got to always find some joy. You can't walk around expecting bad things to happen, which he feels they do a lot here. There's no curse on this program. He came out and said that this week. He believed this was possible, and more importantly, his players did too.
We were talking earlier about it's a big night for South Carolina, but it's a landmark win for this program, and see what they're able to turn this into. They've got Clemson coming up next week. Just really happy for Marcus Satterfield and Spencer Rattler. I mean, everything that they've endured, the criticism that they've heard on the outside, and to be able to put a plan together like this against Tennessee, who is 5th in the country, and then go out and execute it flawlessly for 63 points. Again, that's what makes this sport what it is. Look at that scene.
Wow. What a night in Columbia. Down go the Volunteers, 63-38. Unforgettable Gamecock victory. Bill Bunnell produced the game. Derek Mobley directed it. For Holly, Bill, and Marty, the Bear, Chris Felica, Kirk Herbstreit, Chris Fowler saying so long from Columbia. The Gamecocks have a win for the rocking chair.
ESPN thanks you for watching this presentation of the Southeastern Conference.